Right, it's 7:59, 30 seconds to go to the magical hour of 2000 hours, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., whichever you want, whatever turns you on. It's a lovely Tuesday, the 19th day of the 10th month, which is October. Kritika Deepnarayan from Peter Marisburg is first up. Welcome to it. It's the political desk on a Tuesday with me, KC. Log on. We have another lit night of things happening, and it's going to be super awesome. So let's get into it. I'll give you a chance to log on. Rajan Kari Singh joins us. Adil Ismail is from Nelspruit. Anida, big time DA supporter is online. Andre Engelbrecht, a Bushman mortgages. Yeah, long time, see my friend. Well, if you do ambush marketing again, I will take you off the platform, Andre Engelbrecht. It's not kosher to do that. And you know exactly what you're doing. Nation Governor says hi. Marvin Lawrence, good evening. Welcome. It's Tuesday. It's been a lovely day in KZN. Yusuf Musa, salams. Joseph Metusa is now hooked on this channel. He can't get enough. He's here every night and even during the day. Queenie Naidu joins us as well. Welcome to it. Salim Sheikh, salams to you. Sheila Naika Segran Pele. Right, welcome everybody. And we've got a good hour plus to go. And I have my guest waiting in the waiting room. I've got samosas there, biryani, and all of the things, and she's just having a ball because we Indians, we entertain, we believe in galores, and I'll just tell my guests backstage, if you can't finish the stuff that's there, please take it home with you because it's just too much. We just over catered for when we have white people coming to our platform. We just over cater. But she's waiting backstage. Adil says waiting for your call on the nuts. I'm gonna call you, dude. I'm gonna call you. I'm very, very serious about that. Hey, I don't need to ambush your site. I am in the UK. Yeah, well, I didn't know you were in the UK, Andre Engelbrecht, and ambushing the site. You know what I mean. Ash says, see again, they never greet. Dirty ways you got Casey. Hello, Ash. How are you? Welcome. People get upset when I don't greet them. Calvin Nagia is on. Right. Welcome to it. Today's show brought to you by Desi Dating as well. And Asina says salams, just watching. I just love watching you. That's all, my friend. Thank you, Andre Engelbrecht. I appreciate it. All the way in the UK watching me. Thank you so much. I hope you're going to subscribe to my channel, Andre Engelbrecht, with that pounds there. The pounds there can for $79.99. Not bad to bring you beautiful people like Nicole Graham from the DA. She doesn't come cheap, you know. I had to pay my dues, you know. The last time I had a Vitsteki, cost me 1,000 rand. But look, it was well worth it, you know, back in the day. So, guys, just log on, and I'm going to push my membership from now on, because I'm a struggling artist trying to entertain you every night, every day. So it's $79.99. It's not even 80 rand, $79.99 a month. Click on the membership button, subscribe, man. A lot of you guys can afford it. You're just playing dumb. Don't come with a shit storage. You're paying electricity bills, 30,000, 40,000. And Nicole's going to sort that out for you just now. Can you please, guys, just sort that out? And Natasha says you are nasty. Am I nasty? So $79.99. Madolenja says, hi, Casey and the viewers. I'm looking forward to your guest. I'm looking forward to her as well. Ko Theodora Majiza. Right. Hey, Nicole, you're watching. All the black dudes are online. I don't know what mooti you got, but the black dudes are just lining up here. Become a supporter. Click. Become a supporter. I'm going to... Dushen Bihari, are you a supporter? Madolenja. Hold on. Madolenja, you are you're some construction guy. You got some qualifications there. Can you please just click the subscriber button and put your $79.99 a month? I got a 1 cent discount just for 1 cent. 1 cent. Right. Anyway, good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's day number 2 of the week. Yesterday, we had independent candidate Naren Ganesh online. We had a little discussion with him. He didn't have too many good words to say about the DA. He was part of the DA. We might ask Nicole about him. She may spill the beans on Naren Ganesh. Who knows? Today, we got Nicole from the DA. She's the caucus leader for KZN. Tomorrow, we're supposed to have the EFF, but I think they're busy toy-toying somewhere. So I don't know if we can get him online. Or maybe VBS has got them under, they have a meeting with VBS. I don't know. But if not, we'll have somebody else online. Thursday, guys, Thursday night, a lot of interest in that. Is a talk with attorney Shando Teron. He's a matrimonial divorce attorney, but specializing in custody matters and child custody, and specializing in fathers' rights. Fathers' rights. A lot of people believe fathers have no rights. The mothers run the show. He's specializing in fathers' rights. If you have an interest in that, or you got family or friends that are battling with child custody, tune in Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Shando Teron on the program. However, right now we bring this beautiful lady on the platform, and we didn't do a mic check, so let's do a mic check quickly. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the platform, ladies and gentlemen. Nicole Graham of the DA, KZN Caucus leader. Thank you for joining us.
I'm the Caucus leader, and just in
eThekwini Caucus leader,
yes.
Right? eThekwini Caucus leader. What is a caucus, by the way?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the hospitality. I've got 15 samosas in my handbag, and they're coming home with me. So everything's lovely here backstage. So thanks. I just want
to tell you, a lot of white people get confused about the samosas because I gave you a variety, and a lot of them don't know which is the potato and which is the mint samosas. Just as a rule of thumb, the one with the 3 pointed corners, that's the mince one with the 3 points.
I will have to go through all of them and figure it out.
Yeah, now you'll figure it out. But generally, if you're a function with Indian people and you see samosa, you know which is the mince one. The one with the 3 points, like a Mercedes sign, that will be the mince one. The rest are all veg. But just some knowledge for you to go ahead.
So, but you learn something new every day.
Every day. Look, I had my auntie doing the catering at backstage for you. Obviously, we put the tender out, and she got the tender.
Yeah,
and she was supposed to supply 7 platters of samosas, 2 pots of biryani. What did you get? You got 1 platter.
Yeah, no, there was just some samosas. I think she
coated me. Now you see this. This is how corruption works. They coat you for a lot of things, and they only deliver that.
Yes, yeah. Don't worry, I'm used to it. I'm used to
it. Anyway, I'm taking away from that. So please give your introduction, and you're welcome. We wait for that.
Thanks very much, and thank you for having me. It's nice to be here. And good evening to everybody. So a caucus, to answer your first question, is a group of representatives from the same party that serve in any one legislature. So, for example, all of the DA councillors in eThekwini are called a caucus. So when I say I'm the caucus leader, I'm effectively the leader of the DA in eThekwini. We have 59 councillors currently in eThekwini. There are 219 councillors in total in the council. And I think we should maybe have a chat about that later, just now, about how the council works and who has what share and who sits where. But just a little bit about myself. I've been a councillor since 2011. So this is now going on to my 11th year on council. And I was elected as the leader of the DA in 2018, which effectively makes me the leader of the opposition. We've got an executive committee. So there are 10 executive committee members chaired by the mayor. We've got 3 seats there as the DA. So I serve on the executive committee with Yogas Govender and Tabani Mtetwa from the DA. And then there are 6 ANC councillors and 1 IFP councillor. So that's what I've been doing for the past 3.5 years. And obviously at the moment we are busy with...
Okay, I'm going to come back to that, Nicole. Thanks for that. just when I finish this next item, I'm going to ask you to come back to that seats on the X course, how many seats you have there, whatever. We can start with that. But before that, if you'll allow me, and it's something I was going to do a while back and I didn't get to do, but I thought I'll use this opportunity here. I think about a month back, I lost a friend of mine, and you lost a dear member and counselor of the DA, Queen Carnegie Pillay. All right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I attended a funeral and I saw you there. I didn't really do a tribute to her, but George shared with me, her husband, a video. And if you don't mind, seeing that I'm hosting the DA, I would like to just play that video for in memory and honor of Queen Carnegie. Would you mind that?
Yes, I would love that. Thank you.
Let's just see if we can see it on this.
Didn't know today would be our last, that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of.
Right, thank you for allowing me that time, Nicole. You might want to just say a few words about Carnegie. I knew her just a vibrant, wonderful person. Whenever I sat with her, and I can just share this with you, the last time I sat with her, I went to her house and she was drying and washing on the line. And I said to Carnegie, but you dry all your panties in such a straight line, like she had spacing in between all of them. But I could, and then she just took that to another level and spoke about whatever, because she was that kind of a person.
Yeah, that was, thank you for that. I think it was quite emotional for me. She was a really special person to all of us, and I think especially to the community. And I think, you know, she always gave of herself more than she thought of herself, which is quite a rare trait these days, quite rare in politics. You know, she was always prepared to open her home, open her life for other people. She was always giving away things. You know, if you saw her wearing something beautiful and you said, "Oh, you look so lovely, I like your necklace," she would take it off and give it to you. And that was just the kind of person she was, very committed to her church and her faith, very committed to the DA, very committed to her family. And it's been quite a difficult time, you know, especially now moving into an election where at every event, like you say, she had a great sense of humor. She was always the life and soul of everything. You know,
sure, yeah.
Everyone back down to earth when they needed it. And it's been quite difficult. You know, I was in Chatsworth on Thursday, and it's quite, even John Steenhuisen said, you know, to be here without Carnegie doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. She's definitely missed, and I think gone too soon. But the work she did and the time she had is certainly something that made an impact. And I think the reaction to her passing certainly shows how treasured she was.
Yeah, strange enough, and I think I just mentioned that to George, that in a way, sometimes when you have people that we love, Carnegie has been through in the past couple of months a hell of a health issue, and in a way, I you know, it's hard to say that, but I'd say that in a way, I'm glad she's relieved of her pain and suffering. Just wouldn't want someone to continuously go through that sort of health issue, and just she's relieved of her pain. Her job is done.
She was such a fighter and such a tough woman that even though I think we all knew she was sick and we all knew that she was in, you know, she'd battled COVID and she'd had other health issues in the past, that we all thought she would be fine because she'd always been fine. You know, she'd always been there and she'd been a constant in so many of our lives. I mean, I'd known her since I was 17 years old. And I think for me, she was the epitome of, she loved the Indian culture. She was very passionate about sharing that, particularly with colleagues obviously like myself who weren't Indian. She loved inviting people home, teaching them to cook, giving out, you know, I've got 2 saris that she's given me, and Uncle George has actually giving me one of her saris to have, you know, refitted for myself, that I can wear. But she was so passionate about her community and her culture and her faith that you couldn't help but feel that when you were around her.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great loss, and condolences to the family and George. Thank you for that. Nicole, you said you had studied. You were in university. I think when you did go to university, did you get conscientized at a young age as a teenager in terms of politics in the country? Because in terms of what was happening in the country at the time before you got into politics per se, as a teenager or early 20s, what was your political lifestyle like? What were you exposed to?
So I grew up on the Bluff, and I think I was fortunate enough to go to a school where I was exposed. You know, I've always lived in a multicultural environment. But I think that at quite a young age, you know, I'm 32 now, so I've always been a democracy era baby, as it were. I realized that there were lots of things in our society that weren't necessarily as they should be. And when I was in high school, I was involved in, you know, lots of charity and community service initiatives. And I had a friend who said to me, well, you know, come and we're going to this DA meeting. And at the time I wasn't interested, but I went along and I signed up and sort of never looked back. But I think that growing up in an environment where you see the diversity of South Africa and you see the beauty of that, but you also see how far we are from where we could be and where we should be, has inspired me to be in politics. I became a councillor at a very young age, and I've been fortunate enough to have had the experience that I've had on the council. But I think that a lot of that passion has come from seeing, you know, a society that could be so much more than what it is. I obviously don't have, you know, I don't know what happened. I do know, but I didn't live prior to 94 to understand the way society was. And obviously we've made some strides, but we could be so much further than where we are. And I think local government is really the engine room of that. The way we live our lives on an everyday basis is informed by local governments. And I think that's why I've been so passionate about local governments and the work that I do in the council, and you know, staying in the council and trying as best as I can to build a city that works better for as many people as possible. So I've had a very I would say multicultural upbringing, and I studied politics at UKZN, which was definitely an interesting time in my life. I was on SRC there. I was involved in the politics there. But I think that, you know, all of those experiences have informed, you know, how we grew up and how we how I approach my politics. Also why I want to stay in politics and why I think it's important.
Well, it shaped, those experiences shape your life and shape you in certain ways. Sometimes we don't know how it shapes us. I just want to go straight into this. We'll talk about Chatsworth and Phoenix because I'm in Indian communities. The Indian community seems to have found a home in the Democratic Alliance. Firstly, would you agree with that? And why do you think that the Indian community has gravitated towards the abhorrence of the ANC? And people I know, they say the Indians are inclined to the DA, or they found a home in the DA. Firstly, is that true, and why?
I think the DA is a home for all people who identify with what we believe in, and that's creating a society where people can improve their lives on the basis of what effort they put in, on the value of hard work, on the value of being treated as an equal human being who holds your role in society by virtue of being alive and being a human being with an equal stake in society. And I think that those are all values, in my experience, that are upheld in the Indian community by and large. I think that definitely the Democratic Alliance is a home for the Indian community, but is a home for all people who share those values. And I think that that's what we need to really align more to in this country, is politics around shared ideas, not around, you know, personality, not around the color of our skin, not around anything else other than what we share in common and what future we see for ourselves and for our children. So absolutely, we are fortunate at the moment to enjoy a large portion of the Indian.
Yeah, so I just want to break in there and give my viewers a piece of my mind here and call them to order here. If you guys are going to have your own conversation on the platform, which distracts me, because a lot of you want me to read your comments, then we'll have to block you. So I have moderators in the group, and tell my moderator, if you have a problem with someone having your own conversation, having your own discussion, which actually takes away from me, because I've got to watch the screen, listen to Nicole, and try to take in your comments. And doesn't work when you're talking about other things which doesn't concern the topic at the moment. So those of you on the program always know what happens. We stick to the topic and stick to what we are discussing. We give respect to the guest that's here and to me, your host. If you can't adhere to that, my moderator knows the job. We will block you, take you off the platform because you can't respect the platform. Do not ask me any questions at this point for Nicole, because we have to go through some stuff first to try and get an idea. I'm not taking questions right now. The idea is for you to listen what is happening and take that in and just try and learn from that. At the end, I might try and take some questions, but we got to try and get to learn as much as possible from Nicole about her and the party, and we take it from there. So having said that, Nicole, how many, so in chat, I will talk about Chatsworth and Phoenix because predominantly Indian township they are.
Sure.
How many wards are there in Chatsworth? How many wards in Phoenix? And how many wards does the DA hold?
So a lot of our wards are demarcated in a specific way that they're not exact areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but give me, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
So in Chatsworth there are
5
wards, I believe. There are 7, I believe.
7 wards, yeah.
So there's Ward 71, Ward 70, Ward 69, Ward 72, Ward 77. That's 5. Then Ward 17 sort of moves into Savannah Park, that kind of area. So that's technically part of Chatsworth. And then there's wards that are part of like Umhlatazana, that move into Malvern, that area, so Ward 65 and 64. But I would say in Chatsworth proper, there are 5 wards.
Yeah, I know it as 5 wards. Yeah, of the 5
yes.
wards, how many are DA controlled?
4.
4 of the 5. That's a good percentage.
4.
And Phoenix, 4 wards, I think.
Phoenix is 4 wards, and then there's another one that is also sort of on the edge, Ward 52, that goes into, I think, Bambai. But there's 4 wards, and there's 4 DA ward councillors.
So Phoenix, you've got all the wards in Phoenix. So Phoenix, as we know it, 4 wards, 4 councillors from the DA.
I hope I'm not making a mistake here, but yes, I think so.
Okay. You mean about Phoenix?
Yeah,
and I think in Phoenix you are, yeah. So
yeah,
these councillors, on your in your opinion, and what's happened over the last 5 years, do you believe that these councillors on the ground have done an exceptional job, done a good job? Maybe call out some that maybe didn't do as well. I'm not sure if you're going to do that. How do you think they performed? Were there complaints that came through from the DA? Because one guy is commenting already, the DA is crap in Palm View. Although that happens, I must say, some people, you can't please people all the time. Even if you do a good job, someone's going to complain about you anyway. So that doesn't mean that is exactly true. What is as in the last 5 years leading up to this, in terms of you have a majority Indian, the 2 biggest townships, Indian, you are holding the majority. That's why we say Indians gravitate towards the DA. Obviously, going forward, if they're going to vote for you, you should have done a good job or looked after them. We won't go into great detail, but just your councillors and public perception and responses, has it been overall good, bad? Yeah, maybe I'll leave that to you.
So I think first of all, I think that we've got a good team of councillors who work hard and who try their best. I think that they are the real problem, and this is what I think we're going to get a lot of in the discussion, is that the municipality's ability to deliver services is at an all-time low. And people associate that with councillors. So even though councillors in some instances, unless you're in the majority, have a very diminished ability to address that or to control what happens in their ward in particular. So, for example, we have on Friday night, there was an outage in Phoenix, in Clayville, a big water outage, electricity outage. The stormwater guys hit the pipe, hit the cable, and the result was that there was no water in that area for almost 48 hours. Now, it was reported immediately. It was escalated to management immediately. But there was still no water because there was no truck, there was no capacity to come out. So I think that our councillors do a good job. We've got a lot of councillors that work very hard. But I think the problem is that the municipality is completely coming apart at the seams. And the reality is that because people can't reach the call centers, we've got almost 2/3 dropped call rates. Because people can't get answers from the municipality, they want answers from the councillors. And that's reasonable and fair, but it's also a very difficult task to fulfill when you've got wards that in some places have 40,000 residents and they're all directing their concerns, to one place, and that is the councillor. So it's not at the moment, it's a difficult situation because of the level of service delivery, but I don't believe that that's a reflection on the councillors. I believe it's a reflection on the municipality.
Okay, so that's a good point about the municipality you're raising there. That brings me up 2 issues I want to discuss. I'm trying this week of one lady here right now. I've come from I'll talk about the Montfort area. 2 councillors will come into play. I'm sure there's a guy in Unit 7 Chatsworth named Devraj or something like that, right? And I'm not sure his right name. I think his name is Devraj. He's got his offices in a shopping center, right?
Yeah.
Outside that shopping center is a pile of rubbish that's been lying there for years. It lies and lies and it's filth. He drives past that place to get into his office and out of his office. He sees the filth on a daily basis. In fact, I was going to embarrass him one of the days, go and video it and walk into his office and take him on the road and say to him, "Councillor, you're here for 5 years. This filth is lying outside your office on a daily basis and you've done nothing. So, Nicole, we can't go blame the council now for non-service delivery, not living up to it. Or is this guy's job just to go give a letter to council and say, oh, there's dirt here. So if I go to him tomorrow, he says, well, I asked the council and they're not sending the truck. Outside that Unit 7 shopping center is filth galore. Outside on the roads, it happens again. He goes to work every day. How does he not see that? How does he not? And by the way, I'm coming from people who live in that road, never heard from him, never known anything about him, don't have anything good to say about him. And people I know personally. How I'm going to lead into the question now, other question about when we have complaints like this, and this is a matter that I know firsthand. You know, I'm not hearing somebody telling me Clayfield in Phoenix, this is happening. I'm telling you something I've seen firsthand. When people complain, how do you as the DA deal with these councillors? If I'm showing you that what is happening, what happens? 5 years, this guy's done nothing in that sense. I don't know what he's done. My family lives in that area. I've never heard of this councillor per se, so I can talk firsthand. I've never heard of him. I've seen decay in that ward. I know he's done almost nothing. So I'm giving you that complaint as well. How would you then deal with such a councillor? And surely he's been complained about before. And is it like the other person said, Mr. Reddy said to us, that really the hands of the parties are tied? They can't do anything to the councillor. He's there for 5 years. He's got to run his course.
So I think the first issue is that people misunderstand the role of councillors to be the municipal manager for their area. And that's unfortunately not the way the system works. Councillors, by law and by the system that we have, are representatives of their community. We go to council to decide on the budget, on the process, the system of action of the municipality, the IDP of the municipality. That is what the council does. At the same time, we expect councillors to be the liaison between the municipality and the community. That's very, very obvious. But I can tell you, and obviously I don't know about this issue firsthand, so it's very difficult to say what Councillor Pillay has or hasn't done. But I can tell you in almost every instance where I get a complaint about a councillor, if I go to that councillor and say, I've received a complaint from so-and-so about this issue, the councillor has almost always reported it. The councillor has almost always requested action from the relevant department. You must remember that DSW has been completely collapsed in the city. They don't have enough trucks. The depot that services Chatsworth doesn't have enough operational trucks. They're running reduced shifts. They don't have enough enforcement.
Let me interject on that point. So I hear you there, because you mentioned that previously about the municipality being not complying or not able to service the area. So then, Nicole, you have to ask the question then, or a question is, then what indeed role does a councillor play? If a councillor, all a councillor is going to do is take my complaint, write it down, take it to the municipality, leave it on the desk and walk away. Let's use this example of this Pillay Devraj guy. There's waste lying outside his premises or the shopping center. It's not a lot, but it's a street corner that's got waste and stuff lying there, right? This is lying there for years. I know it because I've seen it for years. And every day someone drops another packet, another bin bag, and it just accumulates and goes. So you're saying to me, he's done his job in the sense that he's given a letter to DSW. DSW is incompetent, and therefore the dirt doesn't get removed. And if I go to him tomorrow, he says, well, I've done my job, but municipality is not taking out the dirt. What do you want me to do? Is that the response I'm supposed to get?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We have, so first of all, I think there's a bigger picture here. The bigger picture is that we live in a dysfunctional municipality. And the only way to resolve the problems in Montford, to solve the problems in every community, is to change the leadership at City Hall. And for the first time in a long time, we have the opportunity to bring the ANC under 50% and form a coalition government in this municipality that can actually implement real change in those departments. So I think that's the first point. And I want to come back to that because you mentioned, you know, some of the smaller political parties at the moment who are making promises left, right, and center. And what they're actually doing is undermining the effort to get the ANC removed from City Hall and elect a competent, capable government, which the DA has shown we can do. We run the best local government municipalities in this country. But the second point is, no, I don't expect him to cross his arms and say, well, there's nothing further I can do to help you. And we have a system within our team that we escalate complaints. And like I say to you, I can't answer this specific issue because it's the first time I've heard about it. And I have a team of 59 people. I'm happy to follow it up and, give you a more accurate response. But we have
so I'm saying to you that I've seen it firsthand. Guys are already commenting about him in the area. I was almost born and brought up in the area. They never heard of this guy. During the unrest, I never heard. But sometimes maybe he's done things that I don't know about. But I'm saying it's such a small thing that you can see there. It takes a bit of effort from his side to be whether it meant him getting a little bucky, putting the dirt on the bucky and clearing that area. Because for me, and I've done this in my own area where I live, there was constant dirt being thrown and the neighbors would throw dirt in the same place. So I took the initiative on myself. I cleaned up that area. So now when somebody puts a bin bag there, it looks like an eyesore because you can see one bin bag in an area that's clean. Suddenly you're able to clean that area. I mean, this Devraj Pillai, I'm using him as an example of other councillors. That's what people complain about.
Sure.
Is there's just a lack of will or initiative to do anything. He could have made such a big difference there. And right now, people will be commenting, Devraj Pillai, he's the guy. He gets things done. He is a man of action. We should stop blaming the council. We know we have an inept council. For 5 years, we knew that they slowly becoming more and more dysfunctional. But in that sense, then the councillors are saying, well, I've done my job, which is what is seen to be happening. I've done my job and the council is not listening. I just wanted to comment on this. I think the councillors can do a lot more, can put a lot more initiative, can put a lot more effort in what they're doing and find ways to fix the problem, which would make the community proud of them that they went out of the way to do these things. By the way, on that same matter, I want to comment someone like Tony Govender, who's a DA councillor. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the hardest working councillors around. When I've got something, he comes in his own car, picks the things up after hours, takes it and goes and delivers it. That is somebody going above and beyond his means from another area. And it's somebody I heard of because of the work he does. But in the area where I am, I don't hear about this Devraj character. So I come back to my point is, don't you think people like him can make a bit more effort?
Look, I think also it's an unfair assessment to say because you saw dirt outside his office that he's not an effective councillor. And I hear what you're saying, but I could also point you to numerous examples of instances that have been resolved. These are the guys when the municipality couldn't deliver water for 10 days in January, who worked 18 hours days on the, is my time up? Who worked 18-hour days on the water trucks, making sure water was delivered to as many people as possible. These are the guys who ensure that paths are cleared, who really have made an effort to go above and beyond in a completely dysfunctional system. So I hear what you're saying, and I'm not perfect, and I don't think the DA is perfect, and I don't think any of our councillors are perfect. And if members of the public come to me and say, we think that this could be done differently or better, I'm always open to look at that and to speak to councillors and say, please deal with this differently, try this, let me know if I can assist, let me know if I can intervene. And that's the one benefit of having a big team. But I also don't agree with the assessment that because, there's one known issue in this particular war that the council...
The reason I picked on that, Nicole, is I would have been fair. I think I'm being fair. I'm not picking on something somewhere else. The reason I picked on that specific issue is because it's outside his office that he travels to every day.
Sure,
you would think that he would have honed in on that at least. If something is in another area that he doesn't see, then that's why I specifically picked on that, because of where he is. He drives past it every day. It should be bothering him that why is nothing being done about this? So that's why I picked. I have no doubt that he's done other jobs. I can't say he's done nothing for 5 years. I just picked on that issue because it was right outside his office. One guy wants to challenge me on that issue. We're not here to challenge anyone. Nicole, while you're on that point, and there's always been an issue, and I know you've mentioned this numerous times. If what you're saying is correct, now remember, come November 1st, the status quo might not change. The coalition might not happen. The ANC could still be running the municipality, right? That's a definite possibility, more likely that might happen. So if that happens, what you just said now, we're going to find ourselves in the same situation where councillors go to municipality doesn't deliver, we are left where we are. So I was last year coming to the conclusion, and this happened during the water, so just hear me out on this one. This happened during the water crisis where you and I were communicating quite a lot when Chatsworth was in the water crisis. By the way, Nicole was at the forefront of trying to assist us with, I don't know why George is trying to call me when I'm live. Nicole was very helpful in terms of the water crisis, giving us up-to-date information, always on the chat group, giving us up-to-date. So thank you for that. But in that water crisis, I learned something. The Bottle Brush area that's controlled by the ANC, and you know we spoke about this at that time as well. When water tankers were scarce in the wards controlled by the DA, 3 water tankers sitting in Bottle Brush settlement, sitting in that ward, and 1 tanker running around the other wards in Chatsworth. Only after making noise for a couple of days did the tankers come in. So does it not make sense for me, and I've said this to numerous people, then I would rather my ward and my family go and vote for the ANC, because the ANC will send a water tanker to that ward to say, thank you for voting for us, screw the DA, we will send a water tanker to you 2 days later, because we will show you a point, you voted for the DA. Now, I think you know this plays itself out and you can't deny it. These are human beings. They know the Indians voted for the DA. They know that is ANC ward, and the tankers went there. So in reality, shouldn't we then as a community say, listen, I don't care what's happening with the billions at the top. I need water, I need sanitation, I need my grass cut, I need service delivery. Let me rather go vote for the ANC and let me get my service delivery. Wouldn't that be a fair thing for me to say and do in that capacity, that sense of service delivery coming from the ANC? If an ANC councillor went to city council and put through a request, he'd more than likely get it sorted out than a DA councillor.
Well, I think I think that the water tanker example is one example. And the reality is that wards that are represented by ANC councillors are not in any better shape. In fact, they are in worse shape than wards represented by DA councillors. If you compile a list of wards with comparative service delivery records and with nothing to do with the councillors, if you remove that and you look objectively and you say, where are the highest rates of service being delivered in the city and where are the worst rates of service being delivered in the city, there's no factual evidence that wards that are represented by the ANC are getting a better deal. So maybe Ward 71, and hopefully that will be governed or represented by Fatima Ismail and not the ANC after the election. But that ward, that's a once-off example, to be frank. The reality is that those wards don't receive.
But Nicole, it did happen, right? It did happen. We could see it happening. It was frustrating to see it happening, but it happened. When the residents needed water, the water was directed towards.
The problem is that you've got a political party that has completely crippled the city and politicizes services, right? That's the first thing. But it doesn't happen on a large scale. It's not as though if you vote for the ANC, I mean, ask the people of Ward 71, are they in a great position having had an ANC councillor for the past, 3 years? I don't think they are. We get as many complaints from Ward 71. I get messages from Ward 71 every single day of my life. So the idea that if you vote for the ANC says, guys, thanks very much, here, we're going to reward you all with excellent services, is not borne out by fact. Yes, it's true that in January, the ANC did politicize the rollout of water tankers. So for a short period of time, yes, people who lived in Bottle Brush did get more access to water than people who lived elsewhere. And we did what we could within the system to fight that and to make it right. And you saw the evidence of that yourself. But the idea that if you vote ANC, everything comes right and they, give you services like Christmas presents is simply not borne out by fact. And I want to come back to the idea of why it's important to still vote DA in the environment that we find ourselves in. Because having a robust, capable opposition that has representation across the board is important. a lot of the parties who are promising people the world will have 1 minute speaking time in council. They won't even turn on their microphone, and they'll be cut off before they get to say what they want to say. They won't be able to serve in more than one committee on the council. They won't be represented in the executive committee, and they won't have access to senior management or leadership of the council. What we've done is we've implemented WhatsApp groups for every line department to try and assist. Obviously, it's not a perfect solution. We can't fix everything. But those WhatsApp groups have been key in actually, when the call centers go bust, which happens more often than not, the questions I put to council show that those call centers are basically dysfunctional. Those WhatsApp groups are what councillors are using to speak to management and report faults. The representation on the executive committee, where we can put items on the agenda and speak to them and get answers and hold the ANC to account, is important. And the idea that a one-man band can come in and say, well, everything's gone horribly wrong, let me fix it for you, is a fairy tale, to be honest.
Nicole, thank you for that. I'm getting myself in my Nicole, what I want to ask you is, going on another councillor issue. I'm talking about first-hand issues I had, and I raised this with Mr. Hussein, Hanif Hussein, back in the day, a couple of years back. And I was really disappointed in this from a DA councillor point of view. I was helping in the Welbidad East area, and there were people living in shacks in absolute squalor. Right, for 20 years, living in squalor. And I don't think I addressed this you ever. I addressed it with Hanif Hussein. I only got to know you like last year to the water crisis. And through my videos that I did of this very people living in abject poverty and squalor, people started to come on board to wanting to help them. And then we got sponsors in from a big organization that wanted to build houses, like a real block house, where they were convert their shack into a block house. And the ward councillor there, when they went to him for permission or to tell him what was happening, he said, you build it, I'll break it. And to this day, 20 families could have had homes from a shack into a block house. And his actual words were, you build it, I will break it. To this day, that councillor doesn't have a good relationship with me because he saw me doing work in the area. And whereas somebody who could try to help him, work with him or whatever, he saw me more as an enemy and a threat to him rather than someone he could work with. And we had a very bad sort of relationship. It was bringing help into the area, bringing help to his people. And really, it's the detriment of the people that we have this sort of councillors who put a spanner in the works for their own gain, whatever. Very, very disappointing story, by the way. I'll give you the gist of it later on when we meet again. I'll give you the whole story as to how disappointed I was in this councillor. Now, I'll give you the whole story why, even when I addressed it with some people, they said, yes, you can't build houses without permission. The land is not used for that and all of that. I understand the law, but in the Bottlebrush settlement, there are trucks there, cement, blocks, everything being built, double stories. There's no law being applied there because the councillor is saying, I don't know what's happening, let it happen. And here, when people who are living in abject poverty, living in shacks, could have had a house built for them, he said, no, you build it, I will break it. You're breaking the law. Do not do it. Walk away. And one house he allowed to be built. That means it could be built. It's a block house. The other 19 were shelved. The people who wanted to do it walked away with their sponsors. Those people are still living in those shacks. 2 years down the line, there's no improvement. How would you react to something like that?
Well, I'm sure you can appreciate it's very difficult for me, KC, to not know the background to.
Yes, no. Okay, just take it on face value. I know you don't know that. Just take it on face value that I'm correct, that this is what happened, and the councillor behaved in that way.
I can't do that because it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to the councillor.
Yeah, well, I suppose so. Yeah,
I deal with, I get queries and complaints and issues brought to me regularly, and my approach is always to get the facts from the person that's raising the query with me, to ask for a response from the person involved, and then we take it from there. And if I believe that a member of my team is incorrect, then I will take the appropriate action. But unfortunately, you know, in a situation like this, I don't know the story. He's not here to answer.
Anyway, that's fine. I don't expect you to make a judgment on it. When I speak to you again, I'll probably give you a lot more about the story, so you'll understand how. And I'm telling you this, and I'm saying it, how a counselor has failed so many people who could have had a house. You know, there's the law, and then there's the law. We all know about that. A taxi can't park on a road and pick up passengers, but it picks up passengers on the road, and the police drive by because they can't stop it. It just happens. People trade on the street corner. They're allowed to trade. They're supposed to have a license. They'll leave them to operate. So the law is the law. It was a very disappointing period in my life. I was very dejected because the amount of work that went in, and so many people could have benefited from it. But he just had an attitude of, he's in charge. You can't come into my wall and tell me things. And I'm not going to push you to comment further on it because you don't know all the facts. I appreciate that. I'm just telling you, giving you an example of a situation where I felt the counselor could have done a lot more work in that area. But I'll leave that argument there and just continue from there. I'm trying to take in some questions.
I think the point about the law not being applied equally is an important point. And I think that, you know, we have seen across the board the increasing politicization of the Metro Police in the city. We were able to figure out during the looting, which I think is a very sore point for Durbanites in general, that there were only 300 officers, Metro Police officers, available on any shift. And there are, I think, about 150 bodyguards allocated to councillors in Durban. So Metro Police really had the same, you know, double the capacity for 4 million people than councillors had security. They had basically half the security of all of the people in Durban. And I don't know if you saw yesterday, but our team was doing some oversight in Newlands East at the Glen Earl Clinic. And Metro Police sent, I think it was 10 vehicles and 20 officers to stop our team from doing oversight at the clinic in Newlands East. So I think that kind of lawlessness is really frustrating people of Durban. And I think that Metro Police could be a far more effective force and a far more useful force. And I think that these are the kinds of political issues that we need to be discussing. How do we come up with the solutions to the problems that exist? And what do the people of Durban actually want to see from the people who are leading in their communities and in council?
Nicole, who is Ronnie? Somebody from your party, you know who this Ronnie is?
Ronnie.
Yeah. Any Ronnies in your councillor's platform here? I'm gonna address this because I'm addressing it with you. I
can't see the comments. The councillor that you were referring to earlier, his calling name is Ronnie Pillay. Yeah. But I don't know if it's the same person.
So let me tell you what he's been doing on the platform since you came on and since I addressed it. He's been challenging me and telling me, we will show you this and we will show you that and we will prove you wrong. So let me tell you quite clearly, and while he's listening, I have a right to ask you questions. I'm questioning you. Did I accuse you of anything? Did I say this was my opinion? Now he's coming across. You see where we go wrong here and where this councillor is wrong now. He wants to come across as holier than thou. I've done nothing wrong. We will prove this. We will prove that. I don't know that. And that means you're making me like an idiot. You're actually telling me I'm an idiot. I'm stupid. I don't know what I saw. I don't know what I experienced. And that irritates the hell out of me because now he's telling me, you correct Nicole, we will give him the information. So basically you're saying he is holier than thou. He's the perfect counselor. He's done nothing wrong. And the people I deal with are idiots because they're complaining about nothing. What I'm saying to you right now is he should allow me to conduct this interview, allow me to ask you the questions. You are answering the questions. People want to hear about it. He shouldn't be on this platform telling me what I should do and shouldn't do.
Well, I can't see what his comments are, but at the same time, you know, if the allegations are directed at him, surely he's able to respond in the comments. I mean, I understand that. I mean, I can't see what he's saying, but surely if the comments are about him and his work as a counsellor,
firstly, he didn't even mention that he's the counsellor. That's why I asked you, who's Ronnie? I don't know who's Ronnie. He's just going on and on about something like this. Allow me to do this. Allow me, even if it's about him, I'm criticizing him. You answered the question on behalf of him. He didn't need to come on the platform and represent himself because nobody knows who he is. He's just coming and causing a chaos here. And just now I'll use the power of the finger and I'll block him and I'll send him off the platform. And
I don't think that's very fair.
And then he can go to Montfort Shopping Center and pick up the dirt from the corner instead of sitting here and give me comments.
I don't think that's very fair, Casey.
Right. Anyways, now I'm just saying, he also needs to respect the platform of what I'm doing. He's coming on here because you on it. But anyway, now he's saying he's sorry. He apologizes now and saying he's sorry because he knows what he did. He was offline. I don't generally react to people commenting, but I was watching his comments as it was going, and it was not called for. Allow me to do what I was doing. I haven't been disrespectful to you. There are important questions to raise. I raised something that was important to me. So thank you, Ronnie, for apologizing. That's good that you did realize that you were wrong. Nicole, in terms of Indian people, and can I say Indian people? You know why I'm saying this? Because I have a majority Indian following, and I'm Chatsworth and Phoenix is my home, so you know that. I think you know I'm very passionate about that. So that's why I'm going to say that, and it applies across the board to other places as well. So don't get me wrong. Others don't get me wrong. Chatsworth and Phoenix, we're talking about. A major problem over the past couple of years has been the electricity tariffs that have gone sky high. People who are paying 2,000 and 3,000 rand, paying 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, and are being told to lodge a complaint, but you need to pay your bill first, and we'll deal with the complaint later on. What has the DA done, and what will the DA continue to do? Do you see an end to this? How do we resolve this? Because I feel that the ratepayers of Chatsworth, Phoenix, and all of that who are subsidizing informal settlements are being taken advantage of, and they are indeed subsidizing the informal settlements. By the way, I must say that I don't have a problem subsidizing somebody else, but how much of my money are you taking? How much am I subsidizing? I don't mind subsidizing somebody who is less fortunate than me. I don't have a problem with that. But how much are we subsidizing? Are we being raped? Are we being robbed? And still not getting the service delivery on the other hand is a bit hard to take. But let's just deal with the electricity issue. I'm sure you know about it. What has the DA done in the interim? How have they addressed it on behalf of the community? Your 8 or so wards in Chatsworth and Phoenix, how have you helped those people or intend to help them?
So there's the bigger picture here is that the city implemented a new billing system. The billing system that we're currently working with, that we migrated to. I think it was still when John Steenhuisen was the leader in the city many, many years ago. And that system at the time was built to cost R1 billion. It was meant to be this innovative, state-of-the-art system. I think the technicians were from India. They had, these technicians that were going to come in and build this brilliant system. It's been clear from the get-go that system has not been functional. And from the start, we as the DA said, let's build the in-house capacity rather than getting in, a system from elsewhere, because when things go wrong, then we have to continue outlaying costs. And questions that we put to council show that system was costing, we were outsourcing about R1 million a month to maintain that system. We have repeatedly tried to investigate what the causes of those high bills are. The first thing is the tariffs. The tariffs for electricity are exceptionally high, and there's a number of reasons for that. The first, like you say, is that the pool of people paying is not getting smaller, but it's not getting any larger, and the demand for electricity is increasing. So I think it's important to look at political parties in the city and what their stance was when the budget was passed. Because lots of people who are coming out now to say, oh, well, absolutely, the tariffs are too high, we're very happy to support the budget that included those tariffs. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is that there was a problem with meter reading, especially during lockdown, and then it extended, where meters weren't being read, so bills were being estimated for a long period of time. We put a motion to council, I think it was Councillor Samir Singh from Phoenix, to try and get monthly meter readings to ensure that the bills that are being put forward are accurate. There has been a slight improvement, but there's still a problem. Bills are only read every sort of 3 to 6 to 9 months, which means that estimations are commonplace. And like you say, the city's policy expects you to pay before you can query your bill. If people have a big problem with their bills, the best way to approach it is to lodge a query with the city. The city doesn't know how many billing queries there are currently. I put this question to council last month. but to lodge the query with the city and then to take it to your councillor, so your councillor can advise you whether the amounts being inputted are correct. Because at one stage they were using the wrong code, so people were being charged for commercial electricity when they were residential customers, etc., etc. And then your councillor can assist you with raising it with management. And we've been able to resolve a lot of problems like that, but it is absolute chaos. My fellow member of ExCo, Yogus Govender, had established a sort of bi-weekly, fortnightly meeting with the heads of water and electricity. And at one stage, we were meeting with them every second week to raise all of these issues. But it's definitely a big problem, and it's something we have been working on for the past 2+ years. That was a long answer, but it was a detailed question.
I'm gonna do something out of this thing. I had George trying to contact me very desperately. I think he wants something to say, something desperate here. I'm gonna have to address him here and see. Yeah,
you can't ignore Uncle George.
I'm calling George. Guys, just hold on here. George had something to. Who is Keith David Pillay? Do you know Keith David Pillay?
Do I? Yeah. I don't think so. Oh, it might be Carnegie's son. Carnegie's son is Keith Pillay.
George?
You're not speaking to George.
Yeah, who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Keith. You're speaking to George's son.
Yes.
And the late Councillor Carnegie Pillay's son.
Right.
How are you, Sacred?
I'm well, and you?
I'm not too good.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate that you used my mom's tribute to bring down the DA, or try to bring down the DA right now.
Yeah.
If you had something to do with the DA, do that. My mother's legacy is well remembered. She worked very close with you, and she worked very close with the rest of the community, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of political parties. What you have just done now is not good. People came onto your live feed seeing that you pay tribute to a DA councillor that did so much for the community, a DA councillor that you worked very closely with, that I grew up, all her children grew up in front of you. Sagan, what you're doing is wrong. Your platform and the way you're doing things needs to be looked at. If you have a personal problem with the DA, I appreciate if you take that personal problem away from putting my mother's name up front. I don't know where you come from with this, and I don't appreciate it. So do me a favor, in this live chat now, Nicole Graham is a very educated and well-experienced woman. She is doing a lot for the community. Ronnie does the best he can do in the community. You come give sandwiches here, there, and everywhere, and then you want to shut the malls down, and that does not run in our books. My mother did so much for this community. And for you to start off your life feed trying to give a good tribute to my mother and then end up bringing down the DA which she died for, I don't appreciate that. I don't wish to say anything else more, because I will call you on a private line after your chat and we will have this conversation further. My name is Keith Pillay, and then I'm Carnegie Pillay's son.
Are you done?
I'm done. Would you like to say something to me?
No, nothing to say to you. Have a good evening. Cheers. Nicole Graham?
Yes.
You don't have to continue with this. Your fans and your supporters believe that you are being chastised and you are being ridiculed. The DA is being taken to task. I have no right because I give a couple of sandwiches here and there.
Well, I think, Casey, I think we must divorce the DA supporters from Carnegie's family. I think that's a personal issue for Carnegie's family, and I think that is not necessarily a political issue. So I respect Keith's opinion. He's obviously it's obviously a bit of a sensitive topic for me, but
For the record, Nicole, just to make you understand something, what I don't do, I'm not an idiot. and I will show you something just to make you understand something. This is a message to George on my WhatsApp. It says, "How's it? I have Nicole on my show tonight. Going to do a small tribute to Carnegie." He says, "Okay, that's good." This is Carnegie's husband giving me permission to run a tribute to Carnegie on the show. Early on in the comments, just for the public to know, early on in the comments, George came online and said, "Thank you very much for the tribute to Carnegie." So I'm just clarifying my position on that. I know Carnegie as well. If he feels that way, that's his issue. Obviously, he's bringing his mother's issue and the DA and put the both things together. By the way, Nicole, I must tell you what's happening on the platform right now with the questions. And I take umbrage to that because they want me to come across and I must be all rosy and give you all the right answers and speak all the nice, then they'll be happy. These profiles, and I'm sure you're a big girl. You've been through harder things than I have even told you. We've shared a relationship. That is why you agreed to come on this platform. I will ask you the hard questions that I think. I have not been out of line in any such way, but this guy who is a DA supporter, whatever, called me a clown. Tabani, don't leave this clown. He even instructed me to tell you to leave the platform, that you don't need to be on this platform. Now that's where the problem is. And a lot of them have been coming on like they're fighting for the DA. You are the one fighting for the DA. I'm not. I ask you the hard questions that I'm asking questions that people want me to ask you, that they want to ask. What about this? What about that? Why don't you do this? And if these guys can't handle the heat, they must stay out of the kitchen.
Look, I'm very comfortable. Obviously, I'll speak to Carnegie's family later, but I think that's a separate issue. I'm not crying by any means. I'm happy to answer questions, tough questions. Like I said to you earlier, the one question I did think was something that was difficult for me to answer, but I'm happy to answer tough questions. And that's the nature of politics.
And I thought you were that, and you don't need other guys coming along being your security, so to speak, because you're long enough in the game, you're long enough to answer the question, and that's why I had you on, knowing that you can handle that. When I pose the questions, when I know what I want to say, and as you said, I can't answer that question, and I respect you. I said, well, I agree with you. When you said, Casey, I think you were wrong with that, I said, okay, maybe you have a point. Let me walk away from that, which is what I did. I didn't push you into a corner. So
but at the same time, I'm talking to you. You can. I'm not calling anyone to do my bidding. So at the same time, I don't have control over what people are commenting. I understand. I can't see the comments.
Yeah. I'll just bring it to your notice in terms of how they are trying to come out and support and whatever. Tomorrow, if the EFF is here and I'm grilling the EFF, they'll all be happy. Yeah, grill the EFF. But no, we can't grill the DA. We mustn't do that. So guys, come on, guys. Everything here and there, bits and pieces. We had our good talk. Now we're going to harder talks and trying to get it. Thank you, Nicole, for that. I understand that. And they may not like this question that I'm going to ask you as well, because I raised this one with you as well. It was a sore point for me. The Councillor Johnson issue, who put on a WhatsApp group about a lady giving out food somewhere in I'm not sure which area, Newlands or somewhere. And then he attacked ADEC and whatever. I did, by the way, call Councillor Johnson. We did have a good conversation. I don't know if you know about that. I called him live on the platform. He gave me his version. And I told him in no uncertain terms. So for those of you who don't know, he posted something about somebody giving out food. He was anti the ADEC and Visvin Reddy and whatever. At the end of the conversation, we spoke amicably. I said, well, in future, try not to do that. It doesn't sound good. And then we were all okay about it. But I did raise the point that I didn't approve of what he's doing. That's not how we should be conducting ourselves. In politics, I think what should happen is, Nicole, I think you guys know more about it. Rather concentrate on what you can do, the DA, and that's where a lot of parties are getting it wrong. They want to attack the ANC. Stop attacking the ANC. Start telling what you can do. How am I going to make things better? How am I going to fix this thing? I don't know if you agree with a lot of people telling the same thing. Stop attacking somebody else. Tell me what you can do. How are you going to make my life better?
Sure, I think that's really valid. I think the issue. I don't want to get into the issue with Councillor Johnson, because I think
let's leave him out. It's fine. I just
there's a background there, and I don't like I said earlier. I don't think that the public are interested in me talking about other politicians. I bring up the ANC because I believe the ANC is the real threat to democracy and progress in our country and in our municipality. And it's impossible to say, this is what's happening without referring to the ANC. But at the same time, I believe that the DA has a really compelling offer for South Africans. I mentioned earlier that the 5 best local government municipalities in this country are all run by the Democratic Alliance. Now, no other party that's going to come on your platform, no other party that's campaigning can say that. Even other political parties who are in government, like the IFP, don't have those service delivery track records. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is that we're the only party that has a track record in this council for fighting for things that matter to people of the city, for fighting on billing, which I spoke to you about earlier, for fighting on the issues of title deeds and housing, which is a big issue in the communities that you mentioned. The municipalities transferred 7,000 title deeds in the past 4 years. Like, that's completely outlandish. And there are so many people in our communities who, if they had the title deed to their home, could use that as an economic tool to move their lives forward. So, and when it comes to basic services, the issues of DSW, parks, water, electricity, we have been, I've got colleagues who've been working on the water issue daily for the past 3 years. So I think that's really what voters need to consider in this election. It is fundamentally a choice between whether you want to live in the circumstances that you're living now or whether you want something different. And if you want something different, the only real alternative is the Democratic Alliance. There are a number of small parties on council. Like I mentioned earlier, they don't actually get a look in because they don't have representation on ExCo. They don't have access to speaking time in council.
Nicole, we're going to come to that. I just want to, please,
sure.
we're going to come to that importantly. Let me just give a pro-DA comment, which some of the guys who came on only because you are here, they've never been on my platform, so they don't know about me. And just to let them know and put them at ease a bit, I've spoken a lot of good things about the DA, which is why even I engaged with you. Am I right? Did I not engage with you during the water crisis? Right?
Yes,
it wasn't about politics. I engaged with you as not necessarily a DA, somebody who can assist. And I've said, and people will bear me out on my platform, and I said, when people spoke ill of the DA, one of the comments I made is that we need to be grateful, or I think we need to be grateful for the DA, because since the advent of democracy, they have been the largest opposition in this country, and they are the ones that have held the ANC government to account. And if we did not have a strong democracy, then the ANC would gain the 2/3 plus majority. Then they could have changed the constitution and whatever they want. So in many ways, whether you like the DA or not, the DA has done a wonderful job for our democracy. And I've always said that. And I think that's where we stand. I share the view of if we dilute the opposition and the opposition gets smaller, then the ruling party gets stronger. I also am in favor of that. It doesn't mean I don't see that and I don't understand that. So for those of you who just joined the platform, I'm a little bit more advanced in my thinking and all of that. It doesn't mean I can't criticize the DA. It's just that I know where the DA stood. I know what they were standing for. I know the value that the DA has brought. Even for with my opinion, the fact that Jacob Zuma has been brought to court and all those matters are coming to the fore is because 10 years back or so, the DA brought these matters to the table. And even I thought then they were wasting their time. But obviously, the wheels of justice turn slowly, but it has turned. And I think in many ways, the DA has a lot to do with those things coming to the front.
Well, absolutely. You mentioned earlier if there's, what happens after the 1st of November is not something we can predict at this stage. But the value of having a strong, big, robust opposition that represents different communities that has a different variety of skills is in itself a hugely important thing. We are dealing with a captured municipality with people who will go to the ends of the earth to steal from you and make your life a misery. That is the gist of what we're dealing with here. Nothing surprises me anymore. So that is really what people need to remember. A lot of people, people often say to me, I'm not interested in politics. Well, politics is interested in you. Let me tell you, whether you are interested in politics, whether you like politicians, I know politicians aren't always the most likable people, but you need to make the decision as to, this is the information in front of me. What is the best possible opportunity I have to create that power back in my community and to ensure that things don't get worse than they already are. And I think on all accounts, objectively, that opportunity lies with the Democratic Alliance.
Nicole, I'm going to go straight to that point you raised, and you raised it early on. Let's say we had an independent, right? Naren Ganesh, and then we have the smaller parties. Explain to me in my terms that people can understand why it is that the small parties, and not just about no, he can't do it. I want to know physically when he stands up in a meeting or in council. I don't know how council operates. So tell me, how does council operate?
Sure.
Let's use Naren Ganesh as an example. Don't say anything about him, but let's use an independent. An independent wins a seat. He comes to what you call the legislature, KZN. He's a councillor, right? How effective is he really? What can he do?
So I think that the first point I want to make is that there are currently 4 independents in council, and none of them are genuine independents. They are all people who were part of the ANC and didn't win the nomination of the ANC. So they all align with the ANC. None of them are genuine. There's not a single genuine independent in the council, and they openly admit that. That's not a point in dispute. There are, I think, maybe 4 or 5 parties that have 1 seat each. So that's the MF, Patrick Pilley's party, it's the DLC, I think it's called, Mosa, Al-Jamar, there's another, I think it's called, there's a few smaller parties.
Wait, and you mean that they have seats currently? No, yes. The new part.
Yes, they have seats currently. Yes,
Mosa has a seat.
Yes, yes.
Oh, is it? The seat is where in the legislature?
No, Mosa has 1 seat in the council.
In the council, city council, right?
Yes. Roy Woodley is the Mosa councillor in council. Yeah. The MF have 1 seat. The Patrick, I think they're called the DLC. I've gotten it wrong. Please forgive me. And then there's 1 other political party. I think it's called the APC. So there's a number of small political parties, and then there is the EFF. They have 8 seats. The IFP have 9 seats. We've got 59 seats, and the ANC have 129 seats. So your ability to contribute in council is dependent on your size. Effectively, it's proportional. So in committees like the executive committee,
so let's talk about the executive committee. Who sits on the exec?
So the executive committee is a 10-member committee, and it's chaired by the mayor, and there's 2 ex officio members, so the speaker and the chief whip, but they can't vote. But at the moment, we have 3 exco councillors. We have 1 IFP councillor, the leader of the IFP, and then there are 6 ANC councillors. So none of those small parties are on EXCO. And to get onto EXCO, you have to have quite a high vote percentage. So the likelihood of a very small party getting onto EXCO is slim. Then you have your council committees. So all the different portfolio areas of the council. So human settlements and infrastructure, community services, governance, emergency services. They've all got committees. And those committees are about 40 people each, because it's the council divided into 5 effectively. So we've got at least 10 members on each of those committees. If you're a one-man band or an independent, you can sit on 1 committee. You can't be a member of more than 1 committee. You can attend the meetings and listen, but you can't speak, you can't vote, you can't do anything. And they often sit on the same day, so you wouldn't be able to vote.
So let's backtrack. Sorry, I'll say, because I want to understand if someone also may be like me, I'm a bit slow. So let's say the independent that we had, whichever is independent. So
yes,
he can choose, if he chooses one, to sit on a certain committee, that's only one he can sit on. He can't go to the others.
Yes, he can attend. You can attend them. So meetings of the council are open to the public. If you wanted to come to EXCO and sit and listen to what we talk about, you can. Maybe you should one day. It might be nice to have you there. But
maybe I should.
But you can't participate. So members of the council can only be a member of 1 committee. So it's not as though an independent could join every committee and participate in every committee of the council. And that is really where the decisions of council are made. They are made in those committees. That's where we workshop policies and bylaws and, you know, the breakdown of the budgets and where we're spending money and why we're spending money there. And you've got to have teams there that can develop expert subject knowledge and know what's happening in each and every committee. The executive committees, so that you've got those committees, then you've got ExCo, and then you've got council. So items go to the committees, then they come to ExCo, then they come to the full council. So ExCo effectively is the executive decision-making authority of the municipality. And it's where it's the workroom of the engine room, if you will, of council. And that is where, you know, we have 3 seats. We work not quite closely, but we work reasonably well with the IFP caucus leader Mdu Nkosi. And then the ANC have got 6 seats. And then you go to the full council. So the ANC can speak for 10 minutes in council. I think it's 10 or 11. We speak for 6 minutes currently. And smaller parties either speak for 2 minutes or 1 minute. So it's very easy to say, well,
hold on, Nicole. While you're talking about speaking for 6 minutes, recently, about a month or so back, you were told to shut up.
I was. And I didn't.
You were told to shut up. Can that even be said? Who asked you to shut up, by the way?
The mayor told me to shut up. The mayor said that we were campaigning.
Okay, wait. So maybe those who believe that you guys do nothing or don't speak of anything, so that's something is a feather in your cap. So maybe explain to them why you were told to shut up by the mayor Kaunda.
So there'd been quite a contentious issue regarding, you know, obviously the issue around the looting and the unrest has been politicized quite extensively. And there was an issue on the table about funeral assistance for people who had been killed or passed away, but only in Phoenix. And the point that myself and my chief whip, Tabani Mtetwa, made was, you know, if we're going to provide this kind of support, first of all, we need to, you know, have more facts at our disposal. And second of all, why only, you know, there were lots and lots of people who died. We're dealing with this chaotic, tragic situation. And of course, the ANC couldn't resist taking the bait and, you know, and eventually it degenerated to the point where the mayor said that we were campaigning on the blood of innocent people. And I just wasn't tolerating that. And so it was an online meeting. And I said, you must withdraw that. You can't simply say whatever you like. And I would not relent until he withdrew. And he didn't like it. So he just went into a fit of rage and screamed at me. And then a week later, my colleague Tabani was told to go to hell by another ANC councillor. So we had a robust time at ExCo. It's not always that bad, but we're quite a tough bunch. Okay,
no, great. Yeah, I'm glad you addressed that issue there quite well. And I'm glad you spoke about how effective people, because I always want to know, that's a question I asked even Naren Singh yesterday, how effective will it really be? He said, well, he can talk, he's gonna push agendas, but like you're saying, if you've given so many minutes and how much can you really say in that 1 minute or 6 minutes that you have, and how much can it, because look, the voting public, as you and I, they are, and although your councillors are not, look, I'm going to say this to the councillors who are taking a hit, maybe the guy in the Montfort shopping center, whatever. Even if I become councillor, I'm going to have my haters as well. There's nothing that I can do to please everybody. I'm going to have people who can hate on me. I can't be God and I can't be a saint. I will have people who can hate on me. Unfortunately, when you put yourself in the public domain, when you put yourself as a public servant, you are going to get that. Do you agree with that, Nicole, firstly?
I do agree. I do agree. You can't be a sailor and curse the sea. But I think that people can be particularly nasty, you know. If I had but
what I'm saying is, to the councillors, there you must be able to. You must be able to take it. Yeah, you must be able to take it, because
we lose. Sorry to keep interrupting you. I do think we lose a lot of value in communities because there's such an intense commitment to this divisive, nasty behavior. And people will.
And I'm just reading comments from some people like a Rasul Sheikh, he's speaking on someone's wife. I just don't understand people who come on the platform with absolutely no value. It's just stupid. And to show him my Discord, I'll just block him. Human beings are just, and that's why these counselors, whatever, I'm saying, I've had a go at you and whatever. I had to express my feeling, but some guys are just taking on unnecessary, becoming a bit too petty and stupid. And for human beings, really, it's quite disappointing actually to hear some of the comments that are going around. We must be able to engage and debate. And Nicole, you and I will not agree on a lot of things, but it doesn't mean tomorrow I can't pick up the phone and have a conversation with you about our community, because ultimately that's who we must try to please and help.
For sure.
It's not about
the nature of social media, and I think that you obviously, in terms of what you do, would get this very, very, would know this. But it's very easy to say so and so is useless, this person, that, and I think it often is very divisive and it's very pointless. And I think if we're to build better communities and to fight for better representation and better services and outcomes, a lot of the people who say nasty things online would be better off trying to be part of the solution. But it is unfortunately the nature of politics. I do think it's getting nastier and nastier, unfortunately. I think a lot of smaller political parties have directed their campaigns at the DA instead of, like you say, their own capacity to deliver or to solutions, which is, I think, feeding the issue. But it is the nature of it, and that's why.
Like I said, a lot of people I know have come on the platform, have never been on the platform before, and make stupid comments when I comment about you, whether it's me, and yet ultimately they will do almost nothing. For all I know, they're not even registered voters who got no say anyway, and now they're going to come out and make comments. It's if you want to be, by the way, if you want to be, take a go at Nicole or take a go at anyone or take a go at me, maybe you should try becoming that person, have a platform, and try to do something, and then let's see what you will do, because no matter what you do, you'll still have your haters. You'll still have someone to come after you, because we can't do everything right and we can't please everybody at the same time. Once you understand that, you'll realize the task that we are in. Even tonight, I'm not asking the right questions. I don't know how to conduct an interview. I'm a this, I'm a that. Others are saying, oh, you're great, you're fantastic. So you see, that's the nature of the beast. You're not going to please everybody all the time. And the counselors need to know that, need to understand that. Nicole, moving on quickly with this, very important question. DA is constantly being, and it also bothers me, but why? And I don't fully understand it. The DA is constantly being called a racist party, right? Constantly, there's racism within the DA, and I'm just going to share this with you. And then, of course, when Musi Mayamani came along, I thought, well, because I even thought the DA, because white leadership, Helen Ziller, you're not really going to get the black vote. And then Musi Mayamani came. I said, now this is the thing for the DA, because a black leader leading the biggest opposition in the country. I'm just going to quote from an article here in 2009. Okay, firstly, just answer me that question there about the DA. Let me read this part here. An established narrative argues that Lindiwe Mazibuko, Musi Mayamani, Patricia DeLille, Herman Mashaba, black people who all achieved leadership positions within the DA were all undermined by a backroom white leadership cabal.
So I don't think that's true, first of all. But I also think
I'm quoting from an article. I'm quoting from an article in the newspaper, right?
No, I understand.
And obviously, these people did leave the DA. And even yesterday, with conversation with someone, he said, behind closed doors, the DA is an inherently racist party. That's why these people leave. That's what I'm saying to you. And people want to know this answer. So it's very important. I'm listening intently. Why these people leave? What happened? And how would you dispel? By the way, you've been accused on the same article of the DA has been accused of being in race denialism. That's even a term. But how? A very important point for me. I'd like to see what you answer and whether it actually resonates with me. This whole elephant on the back of you being a racist party.
So I think it's, you know, the first thing is that people come and go in political parties. There's lots of people who've left and joined the DA since 2009, and they would be people of all races. You know, I can mention people who are white, people who are Indian, who've left and joined the DA, but people don't make a big deal about that because there's no narrative for them to drive. The reality is that the DA is the biggest political threat in this country because of what we do and how we do it. And the net result is that the response from people who don't want to see us succeed is that there must be something else at play here. You know, there must be some bounds to criticize this because there's, you know, no evidence of any proven corruption issues against the DA. You can't fault us on delivery, or you can fault us on delivery. There's always things you can do better, but we've got a great service delivery track record. And I think the politics of race in this country are very complicated, and it's an easy accusation to level at somebody without any proof. You know, a lot of for example, the issue of Herman Mashaba. Herman Mashaba came out and said that he left the DA because of Helen Zille. But there's recordings of him not far before that saying Helen Zille was a great friend of his and someone he respected greatly. So at what point do you say, well, that's the opinion and decision of an individual and not the opinion and decision of a race group? I think in South Africa, our lived experiences and the way we interact with the world is informed by race. You know, we can't deny that. But at the same time, to continue to perpetuate the idea that we are all just proxies of our race groups, you know, that we all just sit in little racial groups and that's the way it is and the way it should be, is something that is harmful and something that we should break down and something that got us into a lot of trouble in the past. And we've been quite unapologetic as the DA to say, when it comes to redress and race, the response must be, let's assist people and let's provide allocations to people on the basis of need, not on the basis of the color of your skin. And we've seen just how badly this has harmed, particularly the Indian community in Durban, because repeatedly the ANC uses politics and race in this kind of toxic little bubble to create exclusion and to use politics to drive the divide. The DA is very clear that we are a non-racial party. That doesn't mean we don't believe race exists or that race has not been a factor, but it means the goal for society is that people contribute on the basis of their merit, on the basis of their worth, on the basis of how hard they work and what they put in, not on the color of their skin. And many commentators can't seem to get around that and are very happy to treat people as agents of their race. You know, to reduce people to just being a white person, an Indian person, a black person. So yes, there have been people who left the DA, and you know, people, if they don't want to be in the DA, they must leave. That's the nature of politics. People.
Yeah, I think that's always going to happen. I'm not saying whether I agree with you or don't agree with you, but if someone wants to bring you down, and you are, of course, the biggest opposition in this country, they will focus on the negatives, and the moment somebody leaves, then that's good fodder for them because that guy left you, so you guys must be a bunch of idiots, and you guys have that thing going for you. So they'll pick on, obviously, any negative story that seeks to this thing. Of course, we can run out of time this time, but there's a couple of things I want to. But you went into municipalities, and that should be a big feather in your cap. And like, and I'm always interested in reading news about Western Cape, where they talk about what's going wrong with the Western Cape or in Cape Town, because of course it's a DA-run municipality, but when I go to Cape Town, it's like I'm living not in South Africa, like I'm living in another part of the world. And I think the DA is, for whatever it is, whatever you're doing, you're getting it right there in terms of that, and that must be a feather in your cap. And of course, the opposition, mainly the ANC, is trying to find all the faults that are in Cape Town, which faults exist in their municipalities, which is even worse. But they're very willing to pick on what's happening in the Cape Town, obviously, because they want to discredit you as the DA who's doing an excellent job in the Cape. Well,
I think, you know, local government service delivery can be objectively measured. You can track how much you spend budgets, what you spend budgets on, your levels of fruitless and wasteful expenditure. All of those things you can objectively track. How well are you doing? And on all of those indicators, we are able to get it right and get it right more often than anybody else. And I think that that's, like I said earlier, really is what this election is about. Are you happy with what's happening currently, or are you not? And if you aren't, you have to make an informed decision about what can be done differently. And I think that, ultimately, local government is about getting the basics right. And the DA has proven that we can get the basics right. And the basics also includes things like housing. I mentioned earlier about housing and title delivery issues, public transport. I mean, Durban's public transport record is probably the worst in the country. If you look at, Durban Transport, Go Durban, our integrated rapid public transport network, still haven't got a bus on the road. We're about to lose all our grants from national government because national government has invested billions in trying to get the system off the ground, and the city can't make it work. Whereas in the rest of the country, it works fine, even in other ANC-run municipalities. So, like
Nicole,
you say...
I was going to go into this question quickly. I missed it on early on. If we have, and I was talking about the errant councillors, and I mentioned the Ronnie guy and the other guy there. If going forward, let's say we reach the end of this term, so to speak, going forward and you have DA councillors in play and the community are upset about service delivery not working, how will the DA handle these councillors in terms of making them accountable, or is there no way to deal with them?
No, absolutely. I mean, so we have a performance assessment system, and every 6 to 12 months, councillors are put through a performance management system. And the performance management system looks at a number of key indicators, and it includes, we include issues like, your engagement with the community, your level of satisfaction within the community. The reality is also is that people who for the people who complain, there are also lots of people who are happy with the service or have been assisted with something and will convey, positive feelings to us. And it doesn't always happen on social media.
So thank you for that. So this performance assessment, you're getting information from the public. How would you get information from someone like me? I'm in the ward and there's my councillor, Ronnie there. I think he's doing a shit job, whereas 10 other people think he's doing a fantastic job. But how do you get that assessment from me? How do you get that information?
So we manage performance. We have it's quite complicated, but we've got a political structure. So those are the constituencies that deal with the politics, and then we've got like my structure, which is the caucus, which is managing your council work. So we keep records of all correspondence, all complaints, all compliments, and we also obviously have to look at the veracity of the compliments or the complaints as to whether it's your aunt saying that Casey's a great comedian, or whether it's just genuinely a member of the public, and we then keep those records, and it's genuinely we can see then if there's an issue or there's not, and then a lot of it is also quantitative. So what we do is, we look at the number of meetings people have had, the number of public engagements, whether they're attending to CPF meetings and stakeholder engagements. So there's a whole metric that is used to look at the total inputs that councillors are giving. And then obviously if there are problems, we have mechanisms to intervene.
Nicole, I hear you. I just want you to understand this from my point. I think you understand me and how passionate I am. I think maybe where you guys are failing and other parties are failing in the same way, we as the community know very little about these processes. And I think going forward, like all the comments coming about how bad this councillor is, somebody saying how good he is, and someone saying the same councillor, numerous comments good and bad. So we don't know which is which, right? No. We and you and your councillors need to educate the public more on, for example, you, the DA, must be able to tell this ward, if this councillor is not performing, here's the numbers, here's the email, you need to send your complaint. In fact, encourage complaints, encourage this, so you can see who's doing the work. Right now, most people, a lot of them are apathetic, they don't care, that's their problem. Other people who do care are hitting their head against the wall. They're not getting anywhere. They feel frustrated. So how, I think you guys need to play, and this is all the parties who are others listening, try and tell the public a bit more. Make sure they know about it. Make sure they know the avenues. If I knew that and people knew it, we'll know where to go. We'll know how to complain. We'll know how to get things done. And I think that will augur well for the coming election, which always you're going to be electing people in that area. Your party needs to win the vote. That's where I think you guys are failing, and we should do a bit more in that sense.
Look, I think that's a valid suggestion. I think there's always ways that we can improve upon what we do. And I am honest about that. You know, I have tried a number of different methods to communicate to the public about what happens at council, about what our teams are doing, about what we're working on. And I think that there are lots of ways that we can explore that. Obviously, we're living in this digital age that gives us access to social media, and it's a blessing and a curse. But I think it gives us lots of opportunities to explore different avenues of engaging with the public. So I absolutely agree that there are things that we could do better. And I think that's up to us to look at our systems and to say, well, how can we better communicate with people? How can we, you know, get things working? And how can we make sure that the public know what our teams are doing and vice versa?
See, I gave your Ronnie a good, before I blocked him, I put him on, his comment is here about Road 734, illegal dumping, whatever. I put his comment. Yeah, so I put his comment there so people can see that apparently he's been doing his work and going around getting things done. So, and then the real guys are commenting on all other things besides listening to what we're saying and having their own conversation on the platform, which is antagonizing other people there. But anyway, thanks for that on that, and thanks for understanding that. I think that'll be a much better in sense of us having an outlet. I must tell you, most people that I engage with and I get upset with them in my communities, if you ask them who the councillor is, they've got no clue. Now, yesterday's question, two reasons for that. Number one, the councillor is not going out enough and telling them I'm your councillor. And secondly, the people don't care two shits about who the councillor is, only looking for him when there's an issue to be had. And I believe every person in a ward needs to know who their ward councillor is, how to lay a complaint, where to lay a complaint, what to do. And that's how we empower ourselves and hold the councillors responsible. I need to know my avenue. As much as I told you to tell the people, it's also my responsibility to find out how can I get to you? How can I lay a complaint with you? And that's how I'll hold the Ronnie or the Patrick or whoever responsible. So I think a lot of onus lies on us as the public to be able to complain and to know where to go. So we must take responsibility ourselves. Next question, very quickly. DA and the EFF been in the market a long time. Apparently, the DA doesn't have a mayoral candidate. These are allegations coming out, by the way, because you are in alliance with the EFF. Floor is yours.
Who said that?
I heard that on so many. I heard that on so many platforms that there's no, and people send me questions. When Nicole comes, you got to ask her this. The DA is this. The DA is that. All of this. They in bed with, and I saw John Steenhuisen's comment that he categorically said he's not in line with the EFF, because people said to me, but the DA is lining with the EFF is anti-Indian. That means the DA is anti-Indian. How can they be that way? How can they sell us out? And then John Steenhuisen comes out with a comment that he categorically states that he's not going into any coalition with the EFF, doesn't believe in that story there. But here's the thing. No mayoral candidate. Is that true, and why? And just speak about the EFF, what John Steenhuisen said.
So quickly, the system that we have in eThekwini, like I explained to you, the EXCO system. In the rest of the country, they have an executive mayor, where the mayor is elected as an executive authority position holder. In eThekwini, we have an executive committee. So the mayor's role is slightly different in the city. The reality is, whichever party holds a majority in the council will be able to elect a mayor. We're seeing all kinds of people declaring themselves mayoral candidates for all kinds of things. I've got an interview that I recorded last week where I told someone that the only gold chain that they're getting is from American Swiss, but it's not going to be at City Hall. And I think I could repeat that.
Can I just stop you there? That mayoral candidate thing. Viswan Reddy said he's a candidate for me. How do you make yourself a mayoral? Is there some way you make yourself a mayoral candidate? How does it work?
I'm not sure what would happen in Mr. Reddy's party. I'm not sure what processes.
Well, he himself say he's running for mayor through his party. Is that what he can do? I'm not talking. I'm not talking bad about Viswan. I'm saying how does it work?
It would be an internal political decision of
okay. That's what I meant. That's what I'm asking. Okay.
It doesn't mean anything politically beyond you saying, here I am. Okay, my party has appointed me.
Okay, so let's take this. And I heard Neil de Beer of UIM wants to be mayor of Cape Town as well or something. To do that, how many votes or seats must he realistically get? How does he become mayor? Is that possible?
You have to carry the majority. So the council, or you have to be the biggest stakeholder. So the council after the election is going to be 230 councillors, which means that you're going to have to get, in all likelihood, at least 165 votes to become the mayor of eThekwini, votes in the council. So it's a very, very high aim. And this is why all these small parties saying, well, I'm going to be the mayor,
no disrespect to Mr. Viswan Reddy, is really a very high thing where as a fairly new party to be able to say he was, okay, nice to have aspirations, but in reality that it's very far-fetched to be able to gain that sort of majority in the council.
It's yes, I think far-fetched is a good description. I want to come to your query about the EFF.
Yeah,
the DA has been very clear that we will not go into coalition with people who don't share our values. We were clear from the start, particularly with what happened in July and all of the chaos the city's been through, that we didn't share the idea that Indians were racist and Indian communities were racist, and we were not going to break bread with people who were openly pushing that idea. We, I think, have learned a valuable lesson in some of the metros where we did have the support of the EFF previously, because it's very difficult to have a relationship where you're trying to get things done with somebody who doesn't have the same objectives as you. So we will work with people who want to achieve the same things as us and who have the same values as us, or, that where the majority of the values are the same. But we certainly won't be working with the EFF. And I think it's quite far-fetched to say so. If you look at some of those pictures and things from the marches that were held in Phoenix, I think it's quite clear to see who's got a cozy relationship with the EFF, but it's certainly not the DA.
So tell me, do you all have a mayoral candidate, yes or no?
No.
And why is that?
Because our focus is on electing as many councillors as possible in the city. If we are in a position to form a coalition, then we will have to make those decisions and we'll have to work with the other parties and elect somebody. But the reality is people aren't voting for a mayor. People aren't voting for one individual. They're voting for a team of councillors.
Do you gain anything or lose anything by putting a mayoral candidate? Does it weaken you or strengthen you, having a mayoral candidate? Why would you not just put a name out there for a mayoral candidate? How does it hurt you or not hurt you?
Well, I think the point is in eThekwini is that we wanted to focus our campaign in local areas on as many people in as many wards as possible. And what happens when, you've seen it with other political parties, it becomes very much about the one particular person. This is a campaign to show who our councillors are in as many communities as possible and win as many seats as possible in the council.
1 second, Mr. Reddy.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Reddy, we have Viswan Reddy joining us. He's phoning in on the line. I'm not sure whether he's going to have a go at me for some reason, but let's just...
I'm sure he's had his turn. Isn't this my turn?
Yes.
No, I will not have a go at you. You're doing a great piece of work. And I must compliment you. I just want to give Nicole a lesson.
No, Viswan, let me. I took your call live. And I'm going to tell you, Mr. Reddy, you're out of line. This is Nicole's platform. She didn't come on and tell you anything about you. You had your platform. So Mr. Reddy. No. This is Nicole's platform. She has a right to say what she wants to say. And I'm gonna Mr. Reddy, you're politicking now. You're right.
Because they have the balance of power. Now that's what's going to happen
I had to cut him off. He's wrong, and he shouldn't have done that. And look, I knew he was going to do that, and he's causing it for himself. That's not right. And the reason I took the call, Nicole, was to show him up for doing something as ridiculous as that. And this is a message to Mr. Reddy. These are the things that make people not want to support you. These are the things where you behave in a manner that doesn't befit somebody going into politics or representing people. I don't agree with this. And I took the call because he wants to behave in that fashion. It wasn't about dissing you. I knew exactly what he was going to do. And that's not how you behave. This is your platform. He had his platform. He said things about the DA. I didn't even tell you about it or ask you for your comment about it. It's not fair for you to comment on Viswan Reddy. I don't want to put you in that position. I'm sure you have lots to say. And you could say many things about Viswan Reddy. That is why he should not have done this. And he's showing himself out to be somebody that shouldn't be representing people. It's not how you behave, because you'll attack people in that capacity. Anyway, let's forget about Viswan Reddy there. He was wrong, as you know. So sorry about that, Nicole. So the mayoral candidate, I think you've given me some answer there. Can we move to the Phoenix unrest situation? Firstly, I want to address the poster issue about the heroes and that was taken down. I share the view of Mike Waters, I think Ikuruleni campaign manager. I was initially very thrilled that the poster went up about the heroes, and then of course the DA retracted that. John Steenhuisen came out in support and then retracted that and apologized as well. Mike Waters labeled it as spineless. I concur with that as being spineless. I know I can't ask you for your personal view. You're going to be on the DA. So give me the DA's version as to why John Steenhuisen did an about turn on that poster issue.
Look, I can't speak for John Steenhuisen. I think that the bigger picture here is that obviously we all know what happened. Everyone on this platform, I assume, live in Durban and know what happened in July. And the DA were the first political party to really stand up for the rule of law and to get on the ground and to meet with communities in Phoenix and Chatsworth, like you mentioned, but across the city and say, what's happening here. And to try and fight for, to call for the army to get things done. I think that the posters, we have admitted that there was an error. And I think that the error was a complex one, not just in terms of the situation, but in terms of the internal processes of the political organization. I don't want to get into that too much. Like you mentioned, my opinion is that of the DAs, but I think that ultimately the bigger picture here is that how do we move forward? And that ultimately is what the conversation came down to.
No, I don't want to go to the bigger picture as I was to move forward, because in the same context, I want to ask you, because somebody who I put my trust in, or somebody who I vote for, somebody who I'm going to follow, party who's going to talk for me, it's like me. People see me as a champion of a certain thing, and then I do an about turn, and I give them a reason why, oh no, I didn't want to do that, and because of this, and because of that. Because you really garnered the support of the people, you harness that. So two things come into play here. That means if you did go ahead with the poster and whatever, then it speaks that internally your legal team, your marketing team got it wrong. And that's not good either. That you got it wrong. You just didn't know what you were doing. There was no thought process. You didn't understand all of that. Because if you're backtracking on the fact that in terms of politics, it was the wrong thing to do, then surely the people who put this together didn't give it enough thought. That even is a slight on the party and those people who made that decision that brought the party then into disrepute in terms of that poster.
Look, it's a very complicated issue for me to comment on. But I think that the reality is that we did realize that there was an error, and the error, like I said, is a complicated one. The reality is, what do we seek? What is the point that we're making? The point we're making is that the people who defended their homes and defended their communities in the face of an enormous threat and a state that had abandoned them did a heroic deed, and that what the response of the ruling party and of the EFF and of other political organizations who were happy to turn it into a race issue, when for the most part it was not a race issue, were wrong. But and that has always been the position of the Democratic Alliance, and that hasn't changed. The issue in particular was about how we communicated that message. And I think that that is where the error was made. I don't think we've retreated on the idea that that was what we were saying, and that was what we have been saying since this first, emerged in July. We were very consistent in saying we stand with communities in their right to self-defense, in their right to defending their homes and their businesses in a lawful way. I think really what the issue became about was the specific decision to put those posters up, and whether or not it was a strategically sound decision. And that was where the posters came down, and whether it was the right tone in a very complicated political
I hear you and I don't hear you, because you see, if I'm confused, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people are confused. So it's caused the DA a lot of damage in that sense. The word spineless comes across. And that's why I'm saying whoever made the decision, if you didn't think it through, you have to face the consequences, because the word spineless, I've heard about many times the DA changed their mind. They weren't strong enough. They bowed to the ANC. I've heard that many times before. And to me, this is the first time I've seen that spineless behavior. Remember, it's in terms of what I see. What you know, what you can't share with me, doesn't help me. I'm seeing it from this point of view, and I'm heavily disappointed in the fact that that was really a stand to take, and then they backed off. And this in the face of all mainstream media, politicians, and everyone not prepared to stand up for those people in Phoenix. I'm not saying you're not standing up, but you understand in the context, that's another one of those things that's been taken away, bowing to pressure from whatever pressure for the narrative. So the answer you've given me, unfortunately, doesn't hold with me. I know you've got your reasons, but me as the general public, I saw it as spineless. I saw it as something that they shouldn't have done. I was all for it, that they're taking a stand, and I was highly disappointed when they didn't go ahead with it. Nicole, in terms of the people who are now in prison, by the way, the 9 accused originally accused or arrested, the Phoenix 9, are still in jail. They over 70 days in incarceration, haven't been afforded bail as yet. In terms of the DA and what is happening now, and the families that are under pressure and whatever, can the DA offer any help to those people, to their families? What about legal teams offering legal advice to the guys, to the team? Is that in your ambit, not in your ambit, something you can do?
Look, I don't think that's within our ambit. I think that at the end of the day, the legal process must run its course, and I don't know the specifics. I mean, I haven't been to court in those cases, so I don't know the exact specifics of why bail hasn't been granted, or what the arguments are. But I don't think it's something that we would get involved in at this stage. I probably don't have the authority to speak on that because it's beyond the realm of counsel. But I don't see us getting involved in that.
Okay, the only question I asked, and maybe you can even still consider it by speaking to counsel, just that the DA probably has access to attorneys and advocates who don't have to do things in terms of going against the law, but basically providing legal assistance in terms of advice to the people who find themselves just floundering there, not knowing how to this thing. But you don't have to answer that question. If you can come up with something that does happen, just trying to assist there in that sense with the legal team that I'm sure you guys have, that you can do it. We're rounding up the end of the program. I want to give you 30 seconds to, I'll mention a name, and I'll give you 30 seconds to a minute if you have, and you just respond. Helen Ziller.
I think, you know, Helen Ziller is somebody that has really proven her mettle in post-democratic governance, and that is a thing that very few people can say that they have achieved. She's certainly she's certainly a controversial character. Her and I have had a number of disputes over the years. She's not a pushover by any means, and I know there's lots of people who have their opinions about her. But the reality is that what she did in the Western Cape and the city of Cape Town, in terms of creating centers of excellence in government, is unmatched in post-democratic South Africa. And I think that that is an incredible contribution.
Herman Mashaba.
I would prefer not to talk about the leaders of other political parties. I think that what people want to hear from us, I hope, is what the DA can do for them. And I think that the lesson, what we're really hoping to achieve is a majority in Joburg so that we can continue with the work that we started. I think there's lessons that have been learned with the Mashaba, mayoralty, and I think that the party has been able to regroup and say what should we do, what shouldn't we do, where do we compromise, where don't we compromise. And
in terms of moving forward as a DA, we know you got John Steenhuisen in there.
Yes.
How do you see? Obviously, any good party leader will need to groom people to come, or any good party needs to groom future leaders. Who are the future leaders within the DA? Is it, somebody asked me, where are the Indians in the DA? No positions. I don't believe there needs to be Indians or whatever. There needs to be people of merit, firstly, not necessarily Indians. So whether the Indians have merit or not, that's debatable. But what is the succession plan, if any? Who are the people coming up around that? Is it then that will make seem that the DA is really inclusive and not another white leader coming up after him, or I don't know. How does it work?
I think the DA's, what we've really done successfully is that we've got a rigorous internal development program, and that we have developed people through what's called the Professional Development Program and the Young Leaders Program, which I'm a graduate of. And there are a number of people, they might just be names to you, but our national spokesperson, Sidiwa Garube, she's my age, I think. She's really, really fantastic. She's been in KZN quite a bit over the course of this campaign. There's people like Ashor Sarupan, who is actually from Durban, but he grew up in Gauteng. He's a couple of years older than me, deputy chair of our federal council, Helen Ziller's deputy. So there are lots of brilliant people. Celias Brunk, who's our national COGTA, which is local government in the whole country. He's our national COGTA spokesperson, also a brilliant young person. And I think we've got, plenty of people of all races in our leadership at various levels. It's difficult unless you follow politics closely to know who they are, to be frank, because they all play different roles.
I'm going to say things for and against you in terms of the race issue, right? Because I am talking to the DA, I'm talking to a white lady. So a white lady represents the DA. And then the DA is seen as a lily white organization. John Steenhuisen is the head of the DA. And here is Nicole Graham, a white person, the head of the DA. But if we continue to see you as white and John as white, then we continue to perpetuate racism. Because really, if John is merited to do the job he is, and if you've served 11 years and you need to be a caucus leader, you're a caucus leader, because that's what you've achieved, or that's what you've earned. And if you start putting a black person in your place just with your color, then you're doing a disservice to it anyway. But the public are still going to see it that way. So it's a very hard thing to be able to control and to prove you, because for you to prove you're not racist, like you must put black people everywhere, and then that just becomes tokenism. It works against what you. So you are in a difficult place in South Africa in all these things. If we can't, like somebody says, put an Indian there. If you put an Indian, you're putting him just for the sake of putting an Indian, and that doesn't make sense. You got to put an Indian there. You got to put a person there who has the merit to be there. So I'm sure it's a pretty difficult balancing act. I'm just giving you like the outlook of what we see, but I understand the workings of it. If in reality it's pretty difficult just to put people out there for matching the color chart.
Look, I think, first of all, I think tonight I could have sent 5 different people to the show who are all of different races, who would have, you know, hopefully been able to conduct this interview as I have. You know, I'm not the be all and end all of the DA and eThekwini. We've got a great diverse team that's complemented by our representation in Parliament and in the provincial legislature, that's full of people of all backgrounds, races, ages, all kinds of things, religions. And I think the reality is that it's about creating an environment in which people can grow and succeed, and also about creating an environment in which you don't just see diversity as a tick box exercise. You know, for you, for example, coming from the environment you come from, having the background and the understanding and your experience in life that you've had, that is diversity. And when you bring that into a team, you are able to create a representation that accurately speaks to the people that you want to fight for. I don't have to be of a particular race to fight for a person of that race. I fight for people who identify with the values and the program of action of my political party and people who vote for us. And that's not limited to people who have the same color skin as me or who are, you know, white women or whatever the case may be. I fight for people on the basis of values and ideas and trying to get things done. And that's what my team does, regardless of the color of their skin, their ages, their backgrounds, whatever. And I'm really proud of the diversity we have in our team. I think we have one of the most diverse caucuses in the country. And we definitely have the most diverse caucus. There's no diversity anywhere else in eThekwini politically. And I'm proud of that, because we've created a system where it's not you're here because of A, B, and C. You're here because of what you offer as a human being. And, you know, the next leader after me might be, you know, a 70-year-old, you know, black man or a 50-year-old Indian woman. And it won't be because someone's looking at the color of their skin or, you know, anything like that. It'll be because people are looking at what they offer.
That's what we need to go forward on. And I was going to make a call to Sihle Zikalala, one of my famous phone calls, and one of the topics I'm going to bring up in that I'm alluding to what I'm going to talk about is, when are we going to stop talking about race? Why is it that Indian people attack black people in Phoenix? But it's not black people that hijacked a cash in transit van. It's 4 males that attacked a cash in transit van, but 4 Indians attacked 2 black men in Phoenix. And the day we stop talking, and why I mentioned Sihle Zikalala as our premier, our leaders supposed to set examples and talk about incidents that happen. Those are people. It should never be an Indian person attacked a black person, a white person attacked an Indian person. And if they continue to talk race, then racism will forever exist within our community. And they are perpetuating racism. Your comment on that?
Well, I think racism definitely exists in our society. And I think that there are, you know, legitimate issues with racism that we must address. But we don't address the past issues of a racialized society by re-racializing society and hoping it works. You know, we've learned the hard way that categorizing and judging people based on skin color doesn't end well. It's dehumanizing. It ends in tears. And so what we need to do is we need to kind of say, right, we acknowledge that this exists, but we're moving forward. We're moving forward into a situation whereby we create a society based on attributes and values and ethics, not on race. And I agree with you completely that race has become, on the issue, that race has become an easy political scapegoat for politicians in this country. And it's a very dangerous thing to mobilize people on the basis of race. And
Second last question I'm going to go into.
Sure.
I was going to ask this early on. You said that the EFF, the DA will never go into a coalition with the EFF. However, in the political landscape at the moment in KZN, one of the ways that's being touted to bring the ANC out of governing eThekwini is to go into a coalition, that there will be a coalition government in KZN. How does the DA see itself if that plays out?
Well, I think the point about the EFF is a done deal. That's not a negotiable. And I think that we've learned that the hard way. The reality is that there are other coalition partners. The EFF is the fourth biggest political party in the city. The IFP is a bigger coalition partner. But really what we are trying to achieve is we're trying to be big enough that we don't need too many coalition partners to do the work. And that's what we're saying to people. It's very risky or very self-defeating to elect 10 different councillors from 10 different small parties who all have their own different agendas and their different priorities, when ultimately we're all technically trying to achieve the same thing. We're trying to achieve a city that works and a city that works better for more people. And if that is your goal and that is your aim, then vote for the political party that's proven that they do that the best.
So do you think the ANC is quietly smiling about all these small parties and candidates and independents, quietly smiling to themselves and saying, you guys go and destroy yourselves?
Well, I mean, I think the phone call we had earlier is a prime example. The small parties have made the DA their target, not the ANC. They've made the DA their target because they realize that they're, trying to chip away at the support of the DA is the only way that they will, potentially be elected. So absolutely, I believe that the less heat the ANC get, the happier they are.
Because I want to share something with the viewers and predominantly Indian. While they're bitching about who is going to take your vote in Phoenix and Chatsworth and all of that, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the DA. I'm just seeing the way I see things here. The ANC is quietly folding his hands and saying, "You guys carry on and do what you want," because in reality, the ANC doesn't hold Chatsworth and doesn't hold Phoenix. So you guys can fight about ADEC and DA and whatever. It'll make absolutely no difference to the ANC because they never had your vote in the first place. So you're not weakening the ANC by taking away this Ronnie from Ward in Chatsworth and replacing him with ADEC or ACC or whatever. It'll make no difference to the ANC because Chatsworth and Phoenix, as you know, is predominantly DA. All you're doing is fighting the DA and taking their wards away from them. But in reality, it makes no difference to the ANC. Would I be correct in that?
Well, in reality, it does make a difference to the ANC because it gives the ANC the same level of strength where we could be reducing
in a positive
the
way.
strength of the ANC.
Yeah.
And the other point is that in order to get a seat in the council, you have to reach a certain threshold of votes. I'm a politician, and there are some political parties. I see posters. There's a poster outside my office. I don't know who these people are. Like, I'm a politician. Like, I do this every day of my life. So I think that, I think the ANC are sort of saying, look at these guys, they are buggering this up. But I think the point is that it does hurt, it does affect the ANC. And the more there is, this kind of bit part voting, the more it strengthens the ANC. That's irrefutable.
The effect is having a positive effect on the ANC, not a negative effect.
Absolutely. Because and also what happens is that when there's 7 or 8 councillors with 1 seat each, and if the ANC needs 1 seat to 1 seat or 1, 2 or 3 votes to stay in power, where are they going to turn?
So in that regard, I've always, by the way, said, so even in this election, I was caught up in a lot of things, but since last year or the other year, when I got a bit more politically conscientized, I realized the value of the ANC in terms of our democracy, not the value of the DA in terms of our democracy, and what the part the DA plays in our democracy, and in the strength that they have right now. I think a lot of people don't appreciate the fact that the DA, what it's doing for our democracy at the moment, and how it's held the ANC accountable, and how much that means to our democracy. I've come out in not attacking but questioning the DA, because realistically, I've also voted for the DA in the past, based on this, in being a positive, being a strong opposition. That was always my thing. I even told the ANC guys, if you believe in the ANC, vote for the DA, because the DA will hold the ANC accountable and make sure they do the work. That's what, in my version, a strong democracy requires a strong opposition because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So a strong democracy is very, very important. So right now, even in this coming election, I'm caught up in what to do, as many people are caught up in trying to make a change. But I do believe that the opposition, such as the DA, for whatever you're worth, whatever needs to be strengthened, because nobody's going to come close to the DA in terms of the numbers of the opposition. And really, in voting other ways, it might just do our democracy a world of bad than a world of good. So as much as the DA has their problems and whatever, not the idealistic party in everyone's eyes, that's where I see the sort of political scenario, from my personal opinion at the moment.
Yeah, I think politics is not a perfect system. And I don't think it's ever going to be possible that you'll find one political party that makes you happy 100% of the time. But this is a watershed moment for our democracy.
It is.
Do you want to continue like this, or do you not? You know, and the voting apathy in this country, you mentioned it earlier, the number of people who don't vote, particularly younger people, is incredibly high. And all of those people think that they can't make a change, but if they all, you know, got up and went and voted, it might be different.
Just give us the stats in terms of the population, the voter registration, how many actually come out to vote. I always forget the stats. Do you know it offhand?
I don't know them. I don't know the exact stats offhand.
Ballpark figures are, it's about how many percent of the population are registered, how many percent actually go and vote?
It ends up being about 30% that actually vote, I think.
Yeah, so it's quite a shocking number. Even in the wards, if you look at the wards, if 12,000 people register to vote, only 5,000 or 6,000 end up going and voting, and that's how you get the wrong people in. Because if 5,000 go in and 3,000 of the bad candidate get the votes, then he's in, and you can't do anything about it. You can jump up and down.
Our ward elections often come down to a few votes. You know, our ward elections, a number of them are going to be very, very close, and that has a big impact.
And that's why that one vote counts, because every one makes up 10, makes up 20, and then suddenly you find yourself in the situation where you were the wrong person. Nicole, I've taken up a lot of your time. It's over 2 hours. Visvin took up about 3 minutes of our time as well. So he ate into our time. Firstly, thank you so much for accommodating me and the questions. I don't know if I've answered the question of everybody who wanted to sing. As expected, there were some idiotic comments. There were some bad comments. People just all over the place. I just needed to engage with you as much as I could. I hope I asked as much questions as to for the people to engage. I think I just asked questions that I want the answers to, and maybe it resonates with the people out there that I'm trying to educate myself. And if that educates them, and I didn't answer all the questions that they want. Some of them kept going on about asking about John Steenays and Musi Mayamani. I didn't want those. That's not going to help us much. I did go into a bit of a history of the DA, but it's not going to help us harping on those things. It's water under the bridge. And
it's a local election at the end of the day. That's the reality. It's a local election, and it's about local issues.
Yeah, Nicole, you got the last parting shot from you.
Look, thank you for your time, and I thank you to everyone that's tuned in. I think it's been a very robust discussion. The reality is that, like I said earlier, the city is in a shambles, and the only way we can get it right is by electing more good people into office. And the DA is the only political party in the city that is big enough, skilled enough, experienced enough, and really has an opportunity to get things done. We've got the track record of fighting for you. It's certainly not perfect, but we are working hard every day to make a change. And we would really appreciate the support of everyone on the 1st of November to keep that fight going.
Thank you. Whatever happens, Nicole, and I'm sure you'll still do fairly well. Like I said, my advice to you going forward is that if councillors can be held a bit more accountable, have a bit more, do something different that the other parties are not doing, holding the councillors accountable, having a more direct approach with the voting power. Now we need them. We need these voters. But if through the 5 years we are more in touch with them, it'll make this journey a little bit easier than trying to reach out to you. Just my version on that we need. If we work on that, I think it'll be much easier come the next 5 years to go back to the polls.
For sure. And you didn't offer me a husband the whole time I was here. So you're offering dating sites here, but there was no There was no arrangements, no
I
dates.
I was gonna end with a dating site and ask you: Are you married? Are you single?
I'm not. No, I'm
Right.
single.
So I was gonna put this question to you because I need to understand from let's leave the politics aside. Now it's Casey and Nicole having a chat here, and from a white perspective, now we go color, right? Because in the Indian community, right, if you're a single, you're 32 now.
Yes.
Shiz, if you were 32 in the Indian community, hell, man, they'll be nudging you and saying, come on, lady, you know, your eggs are marinating and whatever. Just now it's too late for you. Once you're over 35, your life is over. You need to get a man. You need to get a husband.
My grandmother told me when I was at university, so this is now 10 years ago, and she's 91 now. She lives with my parents. She told me it was her dying wish to see me get married. So the other day, she says to me, "So are we anywhere closer to that?" I said, "No, I think you might have to pick a new wish because you're running out of time here."
Okay, let me ask you something because I'm brand ambassador for Desi Dating, was just launched, right? And it speaks to some maybe people like you. So I don't know how much you can share, but when single woman, do you find? I'm sorry, there's nothing to do with DA now, right? So let's be officially clear: the DA is over. We're not talking DA. I'm talking to Nicole as a person. Yeah. Do you find? Obviously, you want to have a relationship, right? Because everybody feels complete in a relationship, so to speak. Some people get completely finished in a relationship, but they want to be complete. How do you try to? How would you, as you in your own characteristic, do you find it easy going out? Is it clubbing? Is it bars? Is it? How do you meet? How would you meet this potential suitor? Or if you've got a closed community, then it's harder to meet people because the pool of men you know is already, you know them, and you don't meet any other new people. So how would you find that? How does it work in your community? And yeah, let me know, because I know people and women who are in that age, but their circle is so closed that they now find it difficult to meet anybody else. How do they meet a partner?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You know, I think online dating and, you know, dating apps and things like that are becoming more and more common, where I think a couple of years ago, people were hesitant to say, oh, well, I met my husband on a dating app or whatever. I think it's becoming more and more common because I think the older you get, you don't go out as much and you don't socialize as much. And, you know, people get caught up with work and things like that. So especially the last 2 years, we haven't been out much at all. So I think that is a challenge. You know, meeting new people in general is a new challenge, and people kind of tend to stick to their crowds. So I think that's probably why so many of these, you know, apps and matchmaking services are doing so well.
So let me tell you how Desi Dating might suit you, because I was very involved in the build-up of this. This is not a dating, by the way. The dating apps, I'm not sure if you're on them or whatever, but they're quite dangerous because they don't vet the people that they match you up with, right? Because you don't know. You could be dating John Steenhuisen, and he could be a female, or, you know, disguised as a male. You don't know who you're going to meet up with. So what this company does is they basically have people coming on the platform, giving them all their details, and then we vet them. They have interviews with them. Do a proper trace, by the way, to find out that John Steenhuisen is John Steenhuisen, that he's not married, how many kids he's got, any blacklisting, any credit records. Put all the records together, then you say.
Records, sure.
Everything is done, because you don't, remember, when you're dating someone, you have to go on 4 or 5 dates till you figure out, hell, this man can't even pay his rent. He's been kicked out of his flat. And now you're already in love with this guy. And you can't handle it. Wouldn't that become important, Nicole, at some point in your... Wouldn't that become important?
I mean, I suppose.
Yeah, no, he's been taking you out and whatever, and then suddenly you realize this man can't pay his rent. He's been kicked out of his flat. He's got bad credit records, and you'll end up working for the rest of your life to pay for him because he can't work and support himself. So we're saying to you, we're going to vet this guy. So you put down your list of what you'd like. He must be 1.7 meters tall. He must be this. He must have blue eyes. He must that. And so we match you the best we can. And then we say, here's 5 options for you. You can decide to go on a date. So in the meantime, we've done all the dirty work for you. We've sifted out the rot and given you the closest possible match that can suit you. That's what this is. Not an app. So it's not an app. Very personalized service trying to bring you closer to the person who would almost ideally match who you're looking for. After that, it's a bit of compromise. Okay, he smokes. I don't want to smoke a butt. Anyway, he smokes 2 cigarettes a day. And he's so handsome, I'll settle for the 2 cigarettes a day and take the rest.
Oh, my hat. It sounds... Well, best of luck with that. It sounds like something that's needed.
Yeah. No, definitely in my community, it's needed, and people are looking out there. In the digital age, as you know, the younger ones, even younger than you, don't know how to correspond, how to talk, how to engage, because everything is online. So they're losing the art of communication. And that's where we have to step in. Anyway, Nicole, I've taken up much of your time. I wish you all the luck with your quest to find a partner for you as well. Don't give too much of time to the DA, because the DA is not going to be with you there in your latter years. You need to sit next to someone. You can't hold the DA logo next to you. You need to be holding on to someone.
That would be very sad.
Yes. But thank you very much, and have a fantastic evening. Thank you, Nicole, I'm glad I made acquaintance with you last year. And thanks for always taking my calls and for answering my questions. And I'm glad we have a relationship that we can share off each other and be honest with each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
All right. Good night to Nicole Graham from the DA. It's been one of the more interesting live feeds that we had for whatever reason. The characteristics, the comments, the idiots, the chutias that came online and made some stupid comments. Then we even had Viswan Reddy, who joined us on the platform, phoning me on the live feed. I didn't think that was right, absolutely incorrect, and I did cut him off there, and that was par for the course. It's been a long-ass feed. We've been almost 2.5 hours, but it's been great. Hope you guys enjoyed the evening. So as we close up, maybe you can give me your comments, what you thought about it. The trolls are gone now because they were here early on. Now just the fans are on. Thank you so much. Let me know your comments as we say goodnight. Did you enjoy it? Vivian says, Viswan was the highlight for tonight. Fuck it, Casey. Annoying is not the word, says Ash. Bride says, thank you. Did I manage to get in all the questions? Did I manage to engage you on a level that you liked? We couldn't ask all the questions. You know, some of them were just repetitive. Trevor Graham Smith says, Viva DA, Viva DA. Good show. Good night, Casey. Excellent show. Says Anita. Anita's a DA supporter. Good night. Hanswati Naika says she is the best. Nicole Graham's always been a great person to liaise with. She's always come back. Enjoyed the interview, but many people were rattled. KCC separated the chits from the rest of us. Mervyn Harris says, good night. Ramba says, Casey for president of the WhatsApp group. Vivian says, Azrina Pillay says, awesome show. Thank you. Good night, Kritika. And where's the others who are watching? Where's the trolls? Prashant says, very informative. That's what I like to hear. That's the word I want to hear. Informative. We must learn. Even if it's something you thought you knew, there's another way to look at it. Admire the guest. She was well composed. Indeed, she was well composed, which shows her 11 odd years in the position of the DA. She didn't shout. She didn't get excited. Yeah. As some guests got on this platform, you know that. Vivian was trying to... right. Linda George says, well done. After such an interview, people don't vote for the DA, then I don't know where we're heading, says Mohammed Zaid. When you go to the EFF? The EFF was supposed to be on tomorrow night. I'm not sure whether the DA will come on or not with the EFF. I got confirmation on Sunday, but that seems to have fallen away. Trevor says, Nicole was beyond professional, well done. I think she was professional, well done. Divesh says, very enlightening to listen to her, although I hope DA members answer the questions here. Right. Let's catch it tomorrow. It's 10:30 on a Tuesday night. That means tomorrow is Wednesday. Thanks, Casey, for ending on a good note. I wanted to end on a good note and show that we are, when you're getting ANC. Well, I've made, by the way, I've made calls to the ANC. See that they didn't call me. I've put out a call to the ANC, offered them platform. Just now they'll say I didn't invite them. I didn't invite anybody. You know, they came to me. All the parties came to me. Session says informative. Very intelligent caller, that makes sense. Right. Thank you very much. What EFF may come on? What EFF? What EFF? Not sure. Anyways, from me, have a good night. Remember to always keep it. Mother, my name is KC Caro.